pops up. Let's see. Just in case anyone is watching this early, like, I apologize in advance. Okay, we're on Twitch. So Twitch is live. Okay. I don't see it on YouTube yet. Terminal, you remember last night YouTube just kind of turned on by itself, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. I think we're in. Oh, good. One watching already. Hi. We're testing streaming for the first time.
For the first
second time, right? We did one on Twitch, right?
I think this is our third time.
Really? Wait, did we do two on Twitch? No, we did one. We did one in the Discord, one on Twitch, and now one here.
Oh, maybe you're right. No, we did the test yesterday on Twitch. We were on Twitch last night.
Oh yeah, no, we did. We did the test on YouTube last night too. We got some secret viewers. Hi, everybody. Who's watching? We have 5 people watching. Oh, hi, welcome. We're just testing out streaming, like something we wanted to do for a while. Have a place for content creators, and friends of mine to hang out and just kind of talk shop and talk behind the scenes, and also just talk about life and hang, because to be honest, it's kind of lonely being a content creator out here, especially in what we do in the meme world. We're usually just a bunch of loners, making content for people, and we never really get to hang with the people that we are making for or our colleagues. So this is what this is for, just for us to kind of hang and talk about whatever's on our minds. The inspiration for this is an old tradition where I grew up in Maine. It's I call it a Maine good night. And what it is before bed, whoever's around the house just goes out on the front porch, or if you have a finished basement or even just a living room, and you just kind of hang and kind of decompress the day and talk about what's ever on your mind. It's a really relieving experience. And I just wanted to bring that to more people. And so there's no plan here. It's just us hanging, and you're welcome to join us, and feel free to put something in the chat if you want to talk about something and ask us questions about either what's going on in the world, what we do, or even just life stuff. We're kind of interested in talking about it all. So anyway, hi, Terminal Mode. Terminal Mode is my #1 collaborator. We made a few videos together, and he's got a great channel. If you're not already subscribed to Terminal Mode, you should be.
Let the cat in. Let him in.
Who's that?
The cat is barging in. He's just busting down the door. He actually knows how to open doors too. So like, huh?
Yeah.
Push the cat through.
Let him in.
I was gonna say, like, sometimes I'll be on the toilet and the cat will be in there, sitting on the can, and he's like, open the door. He just wants to get in there, and so it's kind of a terrifying experience.
So that's Terminal Mode. Good introduction.
Justin.
Hi, buddy. And Southpaw is our friend from Twitter. And he joined the Discord. Who did you find first? Did you find me first or Terminal first?
It was Chuds who invited me in.
It's Chuds.
Yeah, a while back. Yeah.
Chuds is a good dude. He might show up here later.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him.
Yeah. He's not on Twitter as much as he used to be.
No, he backed out, and part of me is like, good for him.
Honestly, I think he's probably the most mentally healthy out of the 3 of us.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think this week's like a good week to meet, because nothing's really happened or anything. So
yeah,
not
brother,
much
no
to
news.
talk about.
No news at all.
Yeah.
I keep having like this kind of whiplash of like, I'm super excited that Biden is gone.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that. Even the people that were more hesitant of Biden leaving, now they're kind of like, yeah, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
So I feel this like real excitement, like the gears of history are really cranking right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
And in this kind of like in kind of like transitions and in a little bit of chaos, there's sometimes opportunity.
Mhm.
And it is kind of a passing of the guard from like the greatest generation. He's the greatest generation president along with Trump. To now it's like the edge of, I think Kamala's a boomer, like last year boomer though, a cusp of Gen X. So it's kind of like a generational transfer in a way too. And so there's so much possibility within the transfer that
Mhm.
it's really exciting for me. Because I really thought like this is like the last year. Like Trump is so set up to win that like, man, you know, who knows what's going to happen when he gets in again. Like I think it's just like no holds
Mhm.
barred fascism.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
um, and Biden was kind of like letting that happen because he's the most conservative guy in the Democratic Party, maybe save
Mhm.
like Joe Manchin or something, but he's been like the guy that's been there forever.
Mhm.
So he was already like kind of like half comfortable with Trump winning because if you're willing to negotiate with Republicans every damn day of your life, you're kind of like, you know, you're okay with them.
Right. Right.
um, and he was just too fucking old to do anything.
Yeah.
Like it was toast.
Yeah.
It was burnt crispy.
It's real hard to look at somebody like that, and I don't have a grandparent that went through this, luckily, or a parent that went through this,
Yeah.
yet, or anything. Fingers crossed. But like, I know plenty of people that would just look at him and go, "Oh, it reminds me of my grandpa," or "reminds me of my dad," like in the last few years, And I'm not saying that like I don't know if he's gonna. I don't mean it like that, but they just have that vibe of like, "Oh man, I remember when grandpa like started losing his mind and his memory and stuff, and it was rough." And do you really want that to like be the person you got to vote on? It just feels like a bummer.
Yeah, is that the anti-fascist warrior that's going to stop the next Hitler?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean, whether you agree with that assessment or not, I do. I like that
right,
maybe separates me from some of the left, where I'm just like, yeah, I think the liberals actually have a pretty good read on who Trump is. At least the normie liberals.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like I think Trump is kind of the end. He is kind of like he's everything bad about America embodied into one thing. And so like
yeah,
giving him the power, and then when like Musk and Thiel
yeah,
became like the owners of his campaign by Musk personally donating $45 million a month, and then Thiel picking his fucking VP. Like, I don't want Musk and Thiel to be president along with Trump. That's the craziest shit I ever heard. So like,
no, yeah,
I'm like, get Joe the fuck out of here because I want to live. Like
yeah,
I want to like, I don't know. I don't have like a lot of patriotism for this country. I think we're all kind of one planet and one people, but
hmm
like I don't want the people here to get totally fucked up either.
right,
Like, I want to change how things are done, but I want it to be a slow transition. Like if there's going to be like a fascist takeover of the country, you need a really strong left to defeat it, and we don't have that. You know, we're good at posting, we're good at media. Our left, I mean, we can protest too, but like the only lefts that have won against fascism in a situation like that are the ones that have a lot of guns.
yeah,
So, you know, I wasn't ready to just like get killed. Either come in for communists first or last.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And so when that transition happened, like Biden stepped down, like I was like, what a miracle. Oh
hmm
my God, are you kidding me? So I was really excited. Like, even, Kamala, million problems. She couldn't even win her own state in the primary. It's like I live in California. California went to Bernie hard in that
hmm
primary.
hmm
And Kamala had to drop out because it was going to be so embarrassing. So
right,
like a situation where like nobody, it's one of those situations where like it's not democratic. Nobody really wanted her. And she's the cop after BLM. So it's like there's a bunch of things working against her. But at the same time, thank Christ that Joe was gone, because now we at least have a chance.
yeah,
So that's that aspect of it I'm super excited about. And at the same time, it's still like this, we don't have to get too into it because it's just a bummer, but it's just on my mind. It's just like Palestine is still going 100 miles an hour. And that's like the issue of the moment. It's like, there's always like one issue at a time that like captures the world's attention. During COVID, it was BLM. Now it's Palestine. Like, because that shows no sign of slowing. Maybe there's a chance, hopefully, but like there's not really much hinting that it's slowing. I mean, Kamala's kind of carrying on the Joe Biden legacy in a way. So I just feel like this whiplash where it's like I'm super excited that we have a chance, and at the same time I feel down that nothing's going to fundamentally change, which is the promise of the Biden campaign. And so is it like, are we still careening towards the slow death, or are we careening? I guess careening is the right word. Are we still headed towards the slow death, or are we going to careen into the wall with Trump? And it's just like, so yeah, I'm just like every moment I think about politics, I have moments of like genuine joy and excitement for the future for the first time I haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
Coupled with this existential dread. And I'm constantly in those two modes, just bouncing back and forth. And I think like, if you follow me on Twitter at all, you can probably see that. Because I kind of use Twitter like it's like it's a live journal.
It's funny because. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Seth. No, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, real quick, that's what I love about following you, is because I think we're pretty in sync in that way. Because every time I'm like doom posting or whatever, you are, and I'm like, yeah, this guy gets it. And then when I start getting excited, just a little bit of hope, like you are, and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, good. I'm not alone on this. Like it's So I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, I think we're pretty in sync.
Yeah.
By the way, follow Southpaw Leftist on Twitter.
Yeah, I draw stuff and complain. That's about it.
I was going to say, going back to Trump, there are 2 points I want to make. One, going back to Biden and Trump, getting Biden to step down was huge, because men do not want to relinquish power. I mean, even in your own personal life, if you have a relationship with, a dad or whatever, they do not like not being in charge. So getting them just to step down and let other people control is huge.
At that age too, it's like it's almost like a biological thing where it's like my dad, he's younger than Biden, but it's like him retiring feels like a death. And I think a lot of people feel that way when they get older, because they identify themselves with their work, for their entirety of their adulthood.
Well, Southpaw, he mentioned it. He mentioned having an older, family member who is somewhat incapacitated. Like my dad was that way, and he still wanted to do everything in his own life, but he could hardly ambulate. He could hardly walk. And so getting him to do things was an extreme chore. So the fact that they got Biden to step down after all that stuff, all of it was touch and go there. It seemed like, he's not stepping down. His family's telling him to stick in there. So the fact that they did, and think about Trump, he refused to step down. He refused. So that's progress, I guess. Right.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
I lost what my other point I made. What wanted to make.
You were going to say that Joe Biden is your favorite president, and he's kind of a role model for you, I think.
Yes, exactly.
That sounds like something you would say.
By the way, I love the green screen background with no screen. What happened?
I tried to do OBS and have it go through Restream, but Restream has settings for OBS, and I didn't realize that. So I was just trying to bypass that, and it didn't work for me. So I'm just abandoning it. I'm wearing green too. So like, I'm surprised that I'm not.
Which is a
very postmodern. I like it.
Oh, by the way, this stream is brought to you by, I don't know where I'm pointing, if it's the right place, but brought to you by Restream. Yeah, because I was cheap and didn't want to pay the $16 a month.
We got to do that top of the hour ad read. So Restream. Use code JTB for 10% off.
They should pay me.
I'm surprised that you got rid of the welcome to my stream overlay that we had for so long.
I'm so glad that nobody saw our first stream on Twitch, except for we had 2 friends that were just like there to give us like moral support and feedback. But we streamed for 2 hours, and the first hour was just us fucking around.
It was so funny.
Anything. Yeah, and like not getting anything done because we just kept having technical thing go wrong. It was so embarrassing. I feel like so boomer trying to do anything like this.
Yeah, right.
I feel horrible.
No, it's great. I appreciate you guys invited me, but when you brought it up and then you mentioned a stream, I was like, oh man, I have no setup for this. I have no camera. I work in IT, like I work with technology, but for some reason, it's just when it comes to this stuff, I'm 80 years old. I'm a Biden when it comes to this stuff.
It took us like literally a year to get to where we're at now. Justin and Chesley and I, we'd been doing this like weekly. We've been getting together and hanging out and trying to get things right, and we've never even really perfected it. We always like, we'll just have to fix this in post. So the fact that we're here right now is it's
kind of a miracle that it's working at all. I think the problem, I can identify the two problems with you and me, Terminal. The problem with you is that you're trying to like always shoot for the moon. Because like you have the green background, but you have that for a reason. Because you built your own background, you had like a theme, and you even had an outfit to go with it. And like, I remember this. But in that effort, it's just like you're juggling like 20 balls, but you don't know how to juggle that many balls. Yeah. And for me, I'm just too lazy. So I'm like, let me show up 10 seconds before it's time to turn the thing on, and then we can just go. No crap.
It's been my problem all along. Like when I met my partner 20 years ago, like we hooked up to do music together. She had a CD out, and I was like, well, let me do some remixes for you.
Wait, what does she play again?
She's a solo artist, a singer.
Right.
So, but she had the CD out and she was promoting it to college radio, and it was kind of just like singer-songwriter stuff, just kind of ambient female vocals over, ambient music. And I was like, well, let me do some remixes. I can do some dance remixes. I can do like a drum and bass mix and these other things. And she's like, okay. And she's like, why don't you do 3 remixes for me? And I'm like, no, I'm going to remix every single song on your album. So it's like all 15 of them. And it took me like a whole year. And she's like, she still talks about it to this day about how I overdo everything. And I try to do that. And as a result, a lot of times I don't finish things. So
yeah, that's a burden. Is it because you have ADHD?
Well, I think it's OCD plus ADHD. If you have OCD, you just
focus so many letters.
Stuff. Yeah, you just focus on stuff and you can't stop doing it. I mean, it's like the myth is if you have ADHD, you're not focused, but you get into these moments of hyper focus. And then if you've got OCD, you're hyper focused on like, one thing. Like I could just sit there with a drum loop and sit there and move the snare over just, 1/64th over because it's a little off and that kind of stuff. And you get really consumed if you have these kind of neurological, I don't want to say impairments because I think they're kind of gifts.
Yeah, they're enhancements.
Yeah.
No, I hear you on that one. Really quick, my family calls it raptoring because when I was in school, we were supposed to do a project where we just create like a small statue of something, and I ended up creating like a 5-foot statue of a raptor, and my parents were having to like help me finish it and all this kind of stuff. And so my parents like, you're raptoring, John, you because I'm the same way where like, except I don't think I have OCD in that like I'll find one project and I'll just be like, okay, this is the one I'm like super into, and I'll just be into it for months or whatever, but then everything else will be like, I don't care, whatever. I'll get to it or whatever. So yeah, I have a bit of both, I guess.
I didn't know what it was with me until like I was in my late 30s. Because I always had this thing where like I would try to take on all these really big projects and could never finish anything, and I would go hyper in that I could only focus on this one thing, but then I couldn't get it together because I'd move on to the next thing. I think I'm still like that today. So I just try to like harness the time when I feel those moments of like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I try to harness that and then get what I can done. But like Terminal knows, like I have so many unfinished projects.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like for every video that I've released on the channel, I probably have at least 2 or 3 that are just half done things sitting on my hard drive. So I need somebody to go in there and just finish all those for me and post them.
Yeah, I've had people tell me like, "Oh, you should draw this to be real funny," and I can't draw like in general. I'll do it once in a while, but in general, I can't do like comedy joke drawings because by the time I'm halfway through it, I'm like, "Is this funny anymore?" Like I
Yeah.
don't even know what this is anymore. Like I don't care. So I just can't do those.
Yeah, the worst is when you start the joke and you're like, this is pretty good. And then you get into it and then you hear the same joke. You're going through the same joke over and over and over. And then like you've invested
Yeah.
so much time in it. You're like, oh my God, I got so much time in it. Do I finish this joke I don't think is funny anymore? Or do I abandon it at this part?
I have so many ripcord pulled joke drawings that are just, I don't even remember what they were about anymore. It'll just be the leg of something. I'm like, what was I drawing? Like, what was this joke? I don't even remember anymore.
I have stuff like that too, just floating around my hard drive where it's like I have a timeline built, but there's just only like a speck of something. Because usually what I do is I download like the way I work is I see something that kind of like messes with my head, and I download that piece of content and then I start playing with it to see how much I can manipulate it. And sometimes I in the process of like playing with it, I realize I can only go so far with it. That's not worth pursuing. It's a dead end. But what happens is like 2 years later, I'll look at those sequences and I'll be like, what the hell was I trying to do? I have no idea.
Yeah, 100%.
Justin, you mentioned, I remember what my second thing I want to mention was you were talking about how sometimes your creative processes end up being like or on like Twitter, whatnot, like a live journal of what you're going through.
Yeah.
I was looking at your YouTube channel the other day, and there's like a progression of like your kind of like your political sentiments. Cause I think back in COVID, you were less inclined you seemed more hospitable to the libs than you are now. You were more of a vote blue no matter what. It was in your comments all the time. I was like, this guy, and I was kind of like the same way. I was like, I like the guy, he's telling us to hold our nose and do that. Whereas now you're like, that's not where you're at all. And like, it's not where I'm at either. Like when I think about how sometimes I'm annoyed with like some of the hyperbole on the left. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to go get the other take. And then the libs, they're fucking even more annoying. And I'm like, I don't want to be with them either. I'm just like, I need to figure out my own lane.
Yeah. I think my stuff is somewhat autobiographical in that it is what I'm feeling at the moment. And if you watch all my content, I mean, like if you watch all my content back to back, you kind of know who I am, I think. I think you're right. Like when COVID started, it was the height of anti-Trump time, you know? And of course, when it's anti-Trump time, like anything is better than him. I think maybe we forgot that a little bit, how fucking nuts Trump was. It was great for content, but it wasn't so great for a lot of people. So during that time, I probably was more like
anti-Trump. You're more
anti-Trump. Yeah, I mean that was. I mean that's the mission at the moment, right? I think and I think that's okay. I think sometimes that even though I do consider myself a socialist or a communist, sometimes you make these deals where it's like I always think about World War II, like. Who won World War II? It was the libs and the communists. And it was the only way you could stop fascism at that time. And then what just happened in France, like people like to say that you can't vote out fascism. Well, they kind of did dodge a bullet by like getting but it was led by the socialist wing of all of French politics. But they teamed up with the libs to block the fascist right wing from getting into power. And so like, that's the only way it works. So in those moments when like fascism's rearing its head, which is like pretty, I don't know, it's getting more and more frequent, which is scary. Like you do need all those forces to stand in unison, even just for a moment, to block it. And my perfect world is one where like the worst right-wing liberal you can imagine, like who's the right wing of the party? I mean, Joe Biden.
I mean, I was gonna say like Manchin or like
I think
that group.
I would like to live in a world like this is the best America I can probably imagine. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can imagine it. I would like to live in a world where Joe Biden is the most right-wing person in the country, and then the debate is between like capitalism and socialism
Mm-hmm.
without having to deal with fucking fascism. Maybe that's built into capitalism, but like my fantasy world is like you're debating amongst people who at least exist in reality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with everybody who's like pro-capitalist. I don't agree with maybe on like social issues, but not on like how like society should be structured.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a 2024 debate. I don't want to have like a debate between like people who are existing in this current time and like people who want to go back to like 1924
Yeah.
or 1824.
Yeah, there are people that are like, we need to bring the monarchy back. You're like, what? What are we talking about?
Yeah, like I don't know, like when they say make America great again, it's just like I don't want to have to even think about that because we're just stalling. Like we have so many things to solve, and the only debate that matters right now, that truly matters, is the debate between like how do we get from capitalism and disperse that power that the wealthy have in this country amongst as many people as possible, which is socialism. Like how do we make every business a co-op so it's not like Elon Musk's just doing whatever they want.
Nippy Chinook says, I would like it if Bernie were the most right-wing politician.
Brother,
yeah, that would be pretty great.
I don't know your gender, but Nippy. But listen, yo, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I don't know if I can imagine that one. Maybe when our kids are grown up. Maybe that's the future we can hope for. That would be pretty cool. Because Bernie's on the cusp of like he's like Bernie's kind of an interesting dude. Because he, out of all the people in Congress, like he definitely knows what socialism is. He definitely knows. Like he went to Cuba. He did his honeymoon in the Soviet Union. Like he knows what's up. So in this country, he's either taking a position of like, this is the best we can do. I think I want that, but this is the best we can do. Or he genuinely rejects it and is trying to find the best version of capitalism possible. I don't know which it is, though. I just don't know which one it is. My dad, who's a Trump voter, read his book. I should ask my dad what Bernie thinks.
Going back to we were originally talking about capitalism and World War II and whatnot. My thinking is that the entire foundation of this country is like built upon the mercantile class since its inception. Like it's always been, that's what the business of this country has been. Yeah. So the idea of fundamentally changing something that is basically where everything is built is like just an impossibility. I think I don't see how we can do it. And we're so ingrained in it now, and we're just like, I'm not sure where to go.
Sometimes I think it's just, I mean, we're the capital of the world. America is the headquarters of capitalism, global capitalism. And so I don't know if the revolution is going to happen here, but I think we can play a role in like softening the revolution elsewhere. Like if we can get our population accepting enough of these ideas and our politicians accepting enough of these ideas, we won't like nuke the first country to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to totally derail the conversation now. Taylor O'Brien wants to know our thoughts on Disco Elysium.
Oh, I love that game. So good.
You go first.
Oh, I don't. I played it during it was during the lockdowns and stuff, and that was just a very I think I've talked about this with you guys before. Like I did a whole like in 2018, 2019, I started completely from scratch. I was like a libertarian, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go into 2020 and like really know what all I can know about politics and stuff. So I just I started watching everything, reading anything I could get my hands on, and then just sort of went with what made the most sense at the time. And it eventually came to where I am, where it's like a socialist area, like socialist, like I'll see communist post stuff and I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. It's in that area, I'm around there. And one of the big ones was that game where because I would have questions of like, okay, well, how would policing work? And then you play the game and they're like, oh, this is how it would work. And you go, all right, well, I mean, it's a game, so you have to, it's a story, and so you have to take into account that you're playing like a bad cop. You're like a drunk, you're a drunkard cop. But like the architecture of it is like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I could kind of see that working. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Mhm.
And so that game was really like good at just, if you are into games like I am, and into role playing games and stuff, and then you just want to see what it's like in that world, it's really good at kind of putting you in there and helping you feel out how you would like it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't finish it. I liked what I played. I couldn't finish it because it's just too much reading.
It was a lot of reading, yeah.
I have TikTok brain. It's that's it. I can't, like, it's hard enough for me to read a book. I'm trying to read Ho Chi Minh's or one of Ho Chi Minh's biographies right now, and I'm after like 3 pages. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm worn out.
So Justin can't talk to us about the political implications of Disco Elysium, but Cut the Rope. Can you talk about Cut the Rope and how it changed your political viewpoints? Cut the Rope, it's more of just a...
Wait, what's Cut the Rope?
It's just
I got...
Like just a game, just like a one slide game.
I thought you were talking about where the guy was hanging from the tree, and I was like, did I miss a thing? Like, okay, I got you. Yeah.
An ADHD game. Just,
the Angry Birds. What are your politics of Angry Birds?
I was on a plane coming back from China like a couple months ago, and I played Angry Birds maybe half the flight.
It's a fun game.
It's a fun game. It's like
a real fun game.
It's so thoughtless too. Like I usually like really story-driven games, which is why I thought I was going to like Disco Elysium, but there's too much reading.
Well, speaking of reading, didn't they like release it with all the text being read? And it used to be read. One of the main voice actors, not a main voice actor, Virgil Texas did some of the dialogue for the game.
Oh, did he?
The Chapo guys all did.
I think all the Chapo guys were in there.
I heard what's his name? The beefy one. What's his name? The gym rat guy. The gym rat guy. Oh, what's it? I'm so bad at their names.
Oh, Felix.
Yes, Felix. Thank you.
I like Felix. He ain't that beefy. Okay.
Oh, he's not? Okay, I thought he was the gym rat. Sorry.
He hangs out with the son a lot, so maybe that's where the...
Oh, okay. I saw 1 or 2 pictures with him, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wait, you saw him with a shirt? Oh, it was kind of weird. You saw him with a shirt off?
No, it was just he's wearing like I don't know, just a shirt that made him look muscular, and I just wasn't expecting it. So.
I've seen Virgil Texas with his shirt off.
How did that go?
Sorry, Virgil Texas.
Don't have to apologize to Virgil. I like the Tex Miners, Texas.
Oh, is that okay? That's what it was. I knew it was something like that, but I didn't follow the whole saga of it.
Yeah, he's a little weird.
Yeah.
To be fair to Felix, I said he isn't a beefy guy. I think he just doesn't. Okay, I've never seen him with his shirt off. I know Terminal has posters of all the Chapo guys with their shirts off, but I never saw
the calendar.
Yeah, he has a calendar.
I got local AI so I can generate those images. So
Stavros has a calendar I want to get. I want to get his calendar. He puts out a calendar every year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I love Stavi. Stavi's the best.
His show is so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Stavi, no, it's not Stavi Problems now. Stavi's World? I think it's called Stavi.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Okay, I'll have to check that one out.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
Hassan was just on it, and it's so much better than Joe Rogan. It's not that he's doing a Joe Rogan thing, but I think, if Joe Rogan's kind of like setting the standards for like comedian podcasts, I think he's way beyond and so much funnier. I think he's quicker and he's like so much more human. And he's not like his brain isn't totally fried like Rogan is. Yeah. And he's a really empathetic dude for like, you think he presents like scumbaggy on the outside, but like he's so kind and gentle on the inside. He's horny too, don't get me wrong. but he's a really like gentle, nice guy. And I get like, well, every time a new episode comes up, I just pop it in and I'll do dishes or whatever. Just I don't know. It's
I'll have
really
to check that out. I found him first on Cumtown, and I don't know if this is bad to say. I think Nick Mullen's pretty funny, but he does have like takes where you're like, I mean, I get it, you're funny, and he's probably like, if you talk to him seriously, he does seem to have like leftist takes on stuff.
Yeah.
But he'll punch down, and there are times where Savi, it's hard to find a time when Savi punches down, which I think is. I dig about him. I think that's
Mullen's
good.
comedy special was pretty good, and it didn't seem like it was punching down.
Oh, I think he's.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
I think with everyone's edgier when they're younger.
Oh, for sure.
And now, like their new show is great. Their new show is really great too.
The Friedland show?
Adam Friedland show.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love the set. The set is so nice. With
I know.
Miller's furniture there.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you guys: is Adam Friedland funny?
I think he is. Now, I think
is it a bit? I can't tell if he's really that way or it's a bit.
On Cumtown, he always kind of played the butt of every joke.
Yeah.
But on this Adam Friedland show, he's really good.
Okay.
He's actually a good interviewer because he's so he's really charming and funny on that one. So I don't know if he's just like coming into his own or if it was always a bit on Cumtown. I don't know. But whatever's going on now is awesome.
Okay, awesome. Good. I liked him, but I was just worried like, is he just not funny? I can't tell. Okay. Cool.
I think he's funny, but he's drier. Like I think the comedy is different. Yeah. It's more of almost not really like an Andy Kaufman type comedy, but it's closer to that. It's more of a meta type comedy. And he's clever. I think all those guys, they've been doing it for so long in that room. So they just refine their talents, and then you get them out of that room and they have this skill set that's just incredible. Now, I'm sorry to do this, but we got to change the topic from Cumtown to Taiwan.
Oh,
Nippy Chinnook wants to know what our position is on Taiwan.
Maybe I'll go first.
Okay.
I think that the Taiwan issue, I mean, it's a broad topic. My first thought on Taiwan is that like, I think that China doesn't have to do anything. I think China is smart enough to know they don't need to go to war in Taiwan. I think that is American propaganda, that like everybody is as bloodthirsty as we are. And I don't think that's the case, because I think that China is kind of like winning economic World War III without firing a shot, just by like having the best business practices comparatively for the entire world and going around US sanctions for every country that's sanctioned. And so China's like building like a secondary world economy. And eventually, and what's happening at the same time is America is retracting because nobody wants to work with America anymore because we're fucking dicks to everybody. We either kill you, we sanction you, or we give you a terrible deal, or we buy stuff from like enslaved populations and shit, like to put on our iPhones that we're on I'm on my iPhone now. It's like that came from slavery. Like, so like we kind of created a really raw deal for the whole world. And not that China's perfect, but China's trying to be like just like 5% better than America on being the world business partner. And eventually America's going to get so weak and China's going to get so strong that Taiwan's just going to be like, oh, like, yeah, let's just trade with America. What's the point? Let's just trade with China and just like, let's just like, don't have to be part of China. China already has like a okay relationship with a few other countries in the region that are like, used to be part of China, but then they got stolen, kind of like Taiwan did during World War II, taken over by the Japanese. And it was founded by like the anti-communists leaving China and like wanted to side with the Japanese during World War II. But China has like the one, two systems strategy, where they have that with Hong Kong, they have that with Macau. And I think eventually, long term, I think that's probably the goal, is just to like ease it over time, that Taiwan will be like kind of like a cousin to China more officially. And I think that's all they have to do. Like, there's no point in going to war to grab Taiwan. Like, China isn't like Russia, like collapsing every minute. Like Russia's been in slow collapse since like after World War II. It's been just like a collapse out of the Soviet Union, and it continues to collapse and continues to collapse. And that's why it's like getting so desperate that it's fighting its own wars in Ukraine, not even doing proxy wars anymore. Like it's a society in like severe decline. That ain't China. That ain't China. So I think my opinion on the whole Taiwan issue in general is like they don't have to do anything. They just got to stay the course and then let America keep hurting itself. And eventually that issue will just be organically resolved over time. I think that China wants it because it used to be a part of China. And like the people that live there are historically Chinese. And the people of China and people of Taiwan do see each other as like a separated family. So I think they'll just kind of drift back together after a while. I don't know how long that'll be. Maybe that'll be decades. But I think that's what's up. Wait,
Justin, why don't you read this one?
Okay, this is from, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that I might get your name wrong. Abdul Raham, is that right? Abdul Rahman, I'm sorry. Can I call you Abdul? Abdul. Hello, this is probably your only fan from Kuwait. Oh, cool. Hope you guys are doing well and keep up the good and funny work. Your videos are awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
I never know like how people feel about this stuff. I mean, I see in the comment section sometime, but like we never, Terminal Mode's a content creator as well. Southpaw is a graphic designer. And so I think we all know this, like when we make content online, we don't get to see the reactions that people have to the stuff that we make. And we get to like see a comment, but we never get to see it live. So like these comments when people say they really appreciate this, like it really means a lot because it's all that we get. Like if you're in a band or something, you play for a live audience, or you're a stand-up comedian, or even if you're doing a movie, you can see like the audience reactions or get interviews with people. We don't get any of that. We just get,
Are you saying that the endorphin hits from the likes and whatnot? Like, and you mentioned Southpaw being a graphic designer, but actually doing Twitter is content too, when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, praise him for his ratio of the GOP.
Yes.
That was awesome. That was
your ratio of the GOP main account.
I have like no amplification boost on my Twitter feed, but I still was like, I got to retweet this so he can get there. I'm like hoping that maybe one or two people haven't seen this yet.
What was your tweet again? Can I bring it up? Let me see if I can bring it up.
Oh yeah, it was real dumb. The thing I liked about it wasn't that I got more than them. It was that they got less than me, because it's the dumbest tweet I've ever seen from like they have 3 million, almost 4 million followers. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it's like, this party is cooked. There's no way.
Let me try to screen share. This is an experiment. I'm still figuring out how to use the software. I have the camera blocking my view, so I have to do this whenever let's see here. Let me do screen share. And then Southpaw share.
All right, there it is.
That's the ratio. That's the ratio. By the way, sick quote from Tim Walz.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
So good. It's so good.
Like I think that I don't know what I think that quote is a little bit out of context. I think it's what somebody accusing him of being a socialist, and he's saying that in response.
Yeah.
But still, there's like I think some lessons. Again, you can pull problems with every politician. It's still a question where Tim Walz is on Palestine and things like that. Doesn't seem great, but who knows? But you can still pull lessons from this kind of character. I think he's really good. It's like speaking normal person. And a lot of politicians are not. He reminds me, I mean, he kind of looks like him too, but he reminds me of Bernie in that way, where you can just like talk like a human, and you can actually like emote and show genuine empathy. And I think that's really powerful. And I think like just calling socialism neighborliness. Yeah. Smart. Like I think that socialism is like the church of normal people. Like you worship your neighbor.
It really is. If you just word it the right way. Yeah. I
always think about like if you're injured on the street and you need assistance, who would you want to come help you? Would you want somebody that's a capitalist, or would you want somebody that's a socialist? Capitalists going to think, how can I profit from this body on the street? Right? Socialist is like, this is my neighbor. This is somebody who needs help.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel too. It's like I moved into a new neighborhood at the beginning of COVID, and my first thought was like, this is like a scary situation. Like I don't know how you guys felt during COVID, but I'm like, oh, is this the end? Like, can the world ever recover from this? Like, when the world's never like shut down simultaneously before.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, it kind of like struck some real fear in me, and we had a lot more time too because I wasn't working. Not many people were, so like I had a lot of time to think, and I was just like, man, like I need to like make friends with all my neighbors as fast as possible, because if there's ever an emergency or something,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like my family. They live on the other side of the country, and then all my friends are kind of dispersed over the country as well. Even my friends in LA are all. LA is a huge like sparse city, or like a amalgamation of cities all combined. And we're all like 40 minutes, an hour from each other, right? So the people that are ever going to, they're going to be the first to help you, like Terminal said, is going to be your neighbors. And so like, I was like, I don't care who my neighbor is. I'm going to like find some common ground with them and just like work that and become friends with them. So we got like a diverse, like people from all around us are like from different countries and different cultures. LA is cool like that, especially my neighborhood. And I've just like found a way to like get in with as many of them as I can. And I keep trying to spread that network further. So like all my immediate neighbors, we're all friends. We all hang out. You know, one person, like I have one neighbor helps with like landscaping jobs and like stuff around the house projects, things like that. I'm the neighbor that grows vegetables. And so, and
Vegetables.
then, well, okay, tomatoes and weed. But listen, you show up to a stranger's house with like a bushel of tomatoes and a little bag of weed, and you're just like, "Hi, I'm your neighbor." That's pretty sick. It's easy to make friends that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all like kind of like trade skill sets and help each other out. Like my other neighbor, they work in the industry like I do, and so like we help each other with jobs sometimes. And so we just try to help each other as much as possible. And I think it's really nice. Like another neighbor across the street, our cars are coming out of the driveway at the same time. We backed into each other, and we use the opportunity to like strengthen our friendship. So instead of like going to insurance, we figured out how to get around it, and we went to like a local car dealership that he knew a guy who knew a guy, and they got us a deal, and we made it like an adventure together. Instead of like doing an antagonistic thing, which is when you go to insurance, it becomes a fight, and I don't want to fight with my neighbor.
That's awesome.
So like I feel like you do that globally, that's what socialism is.
Yeah.
That's
well,
all
like,
it is.
And I don't want to start gushing about Walls because I don't know a lot about him, but I am. I'll be honest. I love the guy. From what I've seen so far, I am super on the Walls train, and so I'm sure it'll end, and I'll look stupid for saying this. I know, but let me enjoy it. Let me have some fun.
Have you seen the video of him in the van? I ask people this all the time. The van video where he's talking about going to Napa and replacing that part for his headlamp or whatever.
Yeah,
it's so adorable. You got to look it up. It's
I'll have to look it up.
The best like political campaign ad that's not a political campaign ad I've ever seen, because he just comes across as so genuine. It's just him riding with his daughter or whatever, complaining about auto parts. From the chat, None Superior, who is a regular commenter on Justin's and mine's video, says diversity is a great part of any big city. And I want to second that, because part of the reason why I'm very open-minded and broad-minded about diversity is because my high school, I went to a public high school that wasn't very well funded, but it was incredibly diverse. It had, you know, everybody in it. So like my identity wasn't just looking at white people all the time. So it's normal for me to react poorly when I see people being racist online. Whereas if you went to a white school, you know, it's all white. When you see people engage in that behavior online, it doesn't read the same way. So part of the problem is that we need people need to have greater experiences so they're more open-minded.
Man, if I was president, my first executive order would just be to like send rural white kids to out of the country, or to like other parts of the country where there's diversity of experiences and culture. Because I grew up in one of the whitest states in the country. I grew up in Maine, it's like 99% white, and you can really feel like the lack of it's monoculture. You feel like a real lack of, I don't know. You can't. It's hard to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And like Terminal was kind of hinting at, like racism does become normalized in places like that because you don't ever have to like worry about running into somebody that is different than you. And so you can just say whatever. So I'd like go into like the convenience store and shit, and you'd hear like openly racist shit. People just talking shit casual, laughing about it because they have no fear ever of running into somebody who's not them. And so like, but being in a city, you have to engage with other cultures. You have to find some measure of acceptability at the very least, or else you're gonna be miserable. Imagine being a racist guy living in like the Bronx. I mean, they definitely exist. They definitely exist. But like, how much does your life suck? Like, fuck that. And so
well, that brings up an interesting point. How these people who don't have experiences with other cultures and whatnot hate these other cultures so much. Their experience is just, you know, going down to the Hobby Lobby or wherever. They don't have any kind of experiences with these, but what they experience through the media and whatnot inflames their kind of, you know, innate fears.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, I'm curious, because something I've been thinking about is like, I grew up in a very like conservative kind of Christian Texas, you know, area of Houston. And so like there was some diversity, but there wasn't a lot. And then in college, it was kind of the same way. And I've like, as I've gotten older, I feel like I've gotten less, I become less interested in the same thing. Like I want different things. And I don't know if that's, I mean, you guys are creatives. Like, do you feel that way too? Like if you went to an all white school all the way through school, I feel like for me as a creative, I'd be like, God, I'm tired of white people. Like I want something different. Do you guys feel that way too? Like, do you guys get that vibe?
I didn't quite go to an all white high school because we had some exchange students. But I mean, the culturally it was predominantly white, and that was the dominant culture. So like I kind of can relate. But I had one blessing, and that was that I had access to like the internet and like TV. So the way I could experience other cultures was, you know, I had a couple friends like from Vietnam at this school as exchange students, but I never got super close with them enough to learn about their culture, right? Just kind of like school friends. But through like TV, through the internet, I got to at least never got to live with other cultures, but I got to see that there was so much more out there that I was missing. And so like from the time I was like 10 forward, it was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like I grew up with like, I think there's like 800 people or something. There's more cows than people. There's no street lights, but I did have the internet and satellite TV. So like, I always knew I had to leave. And like, I ended up going to one of the most famous and biggest cities that there are. First, you know, I live in Los Angeles now. So it's like, I needed it to like, there's like a hunger. And when you know there's more world out there and there's so much to experience, either you become afraid of it and you become a weird conservative, or you crave it like nicotine and you just want to experience all of it. Yeah. And I was the other way, thankfully. You know, I feel really blessed that I was able to get out. Not that the people that are there are like trapped or stuck, or, you know, maybe some are because it takes money to leave. But you know, for me, I needed to get the hell out of there, and I'm really happy that I did. And I feel like I'm a much more robust person because of it.
Yeah,
I could expound upon the point of what you're saying about experiencing different things, because I mentioned that my school was diverse, but partly why it was diverse was because it was controlled by the Mormons, and the Mormons would bring in people from other countries and they kind of radicalize them into the Mormon faith or whatever. And a lot of times they go out. But so the school was predominantly Mormon, but it had like a huge range of people from all over the world. I mean, we had like Sikhs and we had people from Korea.
Wow.
And one day I was at school, and I'm going to date myself here. I was in the gymnasium of this Mormon school, and the kids on the basketball team were playing NWA straight out of Compton. And so that thing contrasted against like what you experience in the Mormon religion, the day-to-day Mormon affairs. It was like a stark contrast. And it was like, I think it was the first time I'd been listening to hip hop, but it's the first time I heard that kind of aggressive, pretty much exactly the opposite of what the Mormon faith is. So, and it totally hit me hard.
Did you start, as I know you're a hip hop head, did you start with NWA? Was that like was that the moment? What was the moment that like cracked it for you?
Like way back when, like there's this song by Dougie Fresh, La Di Dottie, we like to party, we don't cause trouble, we don't bother nobody, we're just the men. You know, Dougie Fresh did it before Snoop.
Keep going.
Sing the whole song.
Your wrinkle pussy, because I can't be your lover. So I started like, I was at this this girl in my neighborhood, not my neighborhood, but the rich neighborhood. She had a skate ramp where like the professionals would go, like Christian Hosoi and whatnot. And we would go over there like when they weren't there. And one day I found on the ground, I found Ice-T's Rhyme Pays, the cassette. And that was probably my introduction to hip hop. I love that album. It's just all just 808 drums and you know, his gangster rap. Like I still have like 6 a.m, memorized 6 a.m. Police at my door, fresh as squeak across my bathroom floor. I have all these things memorized because I listened to them so much as a kid. Because probably partly because they were in contrast to my experience sitting in class with a bunch of white kids, mostly white kids.
Okay, here's a question for you, both of you. And this is a question for the chat too. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up with the chat. This is something we're getting used to. I'll figure out how to do a chat and talk to you guys at the same time eventually. But what I want to know is, what are your first? Are you both old guys like me that you started with cassettes?
Yeah, I had cassettes. Yeah.
Okay. So
vinyl.
Terminal. I'm trying to like de-age you.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, it was CDs.
Yes. Yeah.
Video CD.
My first. I was born with an iPod in my hand.
iPod Touch. I don't remember the other one. It's all iPod Touch for me.
So, what was your first cassette? Because I think that might be foundational to your. Okay, what was your? I have 2 answers for this, but I want to hear your first.
Well, Southpaw, go first.
No, you do not want me to go first. I promise.
All right, I'll go first.
Now I definitely want to go first.
No. I'm not a music person, so I have terrible taste in music, and I've always had terrible taste in music, and so no, you don't want to hear any of this from me. I promise.
Oh God, we're gonna get it out of you. Terminal, open it up for us.
I did buy Big Black Steve Albini's songs about fucking on cassette.
But that was like cassette? How old are you? How's your first cassette?
No, I think my first cassette, honestly, probably going to be Hall & Oates, Big Bang Boom. Like after they did all the cool stuff, they did this album.
Hair out.
Yeah, and but I wanted to mention my first musical purchase was actually ABC's How to Be a Millionaire, and that song actually has a lyric about killing millionaires in it. It's a pretty good song.
That's awesome.
We got to find a way to use all these songs in our work.
Yeah.
I told you that Boots Riley gave me tacitly gave me permission to use one of his songs.
Did he?
Yeah, I added him. It was the Billionaire Purge. In the credit sequence, I use 500 Ways to Kill a CEO.
I love Boots Riley, man.
Yeah. So I added him on Twitter and I asked him, "Hey, man, is it okay if we use this song in the credits of this for my communist YouTube channel?" He just liked it. So I was like, okay, that's good enough for me. He liked the tweet.
Awesome. That's awesome. He was another big part of my during COVID transformation was watching what's it called? Thank you for
Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to Bother You, and then realizing he's a musician, and then listening to his albums and just being like, oh my God, I'm a communist. This guy rules.
I know he's kind of and what's funny too, he's like also hyper online left guy. You know, like if you're online and you're on the left, they call it the online left. He's so on Twitter.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
And he does I followed him for a while, and he'll do days where he tweets 40 times a day, and then he'll just disappear for 2 months because I think he's detoxing because it's still addicted to all of us. And leftists, we post throughout history. That's what we do. Every like I read, like I said, I was reading Ho Chi Minh's biography, and it's just like all he does is write, like he writes like a pamphlet every other day, and sends it to people, or like and like he's just hanging out in cafes, and he's posting before there was Twitter. So they all do that. They're all writers. Like every every thought leader in everywhere on the left has like all these papers and shit from Marx to Martin Luther King. Like all we do is post. Not all we do, but like we all post. So it's like we're just doing it in the modern era, you know. Now, and there's a lot more of us that can have access to posting.
None Superior was asking what the first CD was. My first CD purchase was, I actually purchased two: Joy Division Substance, which is great, and Revolting Cox, You Goddamn Son of a Bitch, which is a side project of Elaine Jorgensen from Ministry and Front Tooth for Two. He also was mentioning LL Cool J, and I wanted to point out that I have the Jib Jab Hip Hop Kids and The Winner Is by LL Cool J. And get this. Where is it? It's signed. It's autographed by the man himself.
What? How'd you get that?
J. I bought it at Goodwill for 99 cents.
Signed?
Signed.
Signed?
What's funny is it's Jib Jab. Do you remember Jib Jab?
Yeah. My mom used to let me Jib Jab. It's like once a week.
That's
oh my God, that's amazing. I'm going to answer both questions. So, first cassette. Okay. I have a better
It's got to be
story.
Weird Al. It's got to be Weird Al.
No. Okay, I have three answers.
Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. No, first cassette, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Summertime.
Oh, I was going to say, kid gave me the first album with the Freddie Nightmare on My Street. Did you ever listen to that one with Freddy Krueger? It's so bad.
So that was my first cassette, but I wasn't like a Will Smith head. No, I was like 8 or something. You know, just bought whatever was on the radio.
That's the song he got criticized for ripping off Raheem's flow, because it's just he totally like, because he's all, you know, if you heard his other stuff, it's all really goofy, you know.
Yeah, he's poppy. And Summertime's like a soft jam too.
He's like he goes. It's Raheem's flow. If you listen to Raheem, and Raheem.
But the one where I feel like I found my music, the first cassette I bought, I was probably like in 5th grade or something. 2 cassettes. I bought them the same day. Weird Al Yankovic, Bad Hair Day.
I love that. I love that album. I heard that one too.
Yeah, it's so good. And Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire.
Oh my God, what a weird combination.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense to me. I can vibe with that. That's great.
Like, I feel like if you look at my work, those 2 influences have carried through the entire way.
Yeah.
I feel like
I totally get that.
Machine meets video editing.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, total inspiration. I love those guys, all of them. Then first CD was Chef Aid, the South Park album.
Oh my God. The Salty Balls? Is that Salty Balls?
What's that?
Is that the Salty Balls one?
Yeah, Salty Balls. Actually, it was a pretty big lineup on that. I forget who was on there, but I remember it was being a really big lineup.
Like Primus and stuff like that, isn't it?
Primus was my like favorite band, like 8th grade to like till I was like 15 or 16. I started playing bass with Primus. My bass is over there, actually.
I always remember My Name is Mud when I worked in the record store as a kid, would play it all the time. My name is Mud. And like the song is so strange, and I like occasionally I'm like, I gotta go listen to this song, and I'm like, why am I listening to this song?
It's very cartoony, very twangy. He plays the bass like it's a banjo. Let's look at the chat. I'm curious. Who do people like here?
Public Enemy, yeah.
Ooh,
for sure.
You're talking directly to Terminal.
That's I think I cited him or Chuck D, because I have one of those songs on Rise too. Black Steel and the Hour of Chaos. Got a letter from the government the other day. I opened it, read it, said they were suckers. They wanted me for their army or whatever. Picture me giving a damn. I said never.
Wait, they're touring with Taylor. They're touring with Limp Bizkit. Taylor loves Limp Bizkit.
Really?
Loves
have either of you seen the movie he directed with John Travolta where he plays the autistic guy?
I
Wait.
heard about it. I haven't seen it though. I've
Wait,
heard. I've
this was
heard.
a long time ago.
No, it's
No, a couple
it's
years
like,
ago. Yeah.
He did one a long time ago.
something called Charlie.
Something, yeah. And I had a MySpace page for like some short film that I made or something in college, back when MySpace was a thing. And his movie followed me on MySpace, and that was like a big moment for me.
It's been downhill for
I
you
was
since
like,
then.
I made it. Fred Durst movie follows me.
That's great.
Wait, let's see. The first concert, it was Primus. It was
Really?
Primus. Yeah. I saw Primus play. It was awesome. Really good.
I think my first concert was Echo and the Bunnymen.
Oh,
Also
yeah.
got offered weed there for the first time too. The guy in front of me.
Did you try it?
I was a straight edge at the time. I was like, no, man, I've heard bad things about this stuff on TV.
It's worse than heroin.
I got to say no here. I'm sorry. I appreciate the gesture.
Were you always straight edge? Like, or when did you break?
Like
until I drank beer.
Until I was like 30, I didn't smoke. I've never done any drugs. I only did
30, did you?
By the time I was when I was 30, I like was at a place and I like got a glass of wine. I was like, holy shit, this is pretty good. And then that was like my descent into alcoholism.
Yeah, white wine like 30s, like dancing on the ceiling.
I was like, holy shit. Because like if you're a person who has anxiety and then you like medicate like that, it was like my brain and ADHD. If your brain's not constantly racing and it's too fast, and you have a glass of wine, you're like, oh, this is so wonderful.
What are you, Southpaw?
It's a bad one. It was Dave Matthews Band.
No, Dave Matthews is like having like a kind of a not a resurgence, but like a reappreciation because he's like he's such a leftist.
Oh, is he?
Like,
Okay.
He goes to every protest.
It was a bad concert.
It was a bad concert.
It was real bad. I went with friends and they were like, yeah, Dave's great. He's awesome. He came out and it was like him on a stage with, just an acoustic guitar or whatever. I think it was plugged in or amplified somehow. And he played for like 45 minutes and walked off. And everybody's like, oh, he does like 3 encore. We never saw him again.
Really?
So I don't know. Yeah. He's just gone. He's done.
I'm bored.
I love that you guys have like such good like musical like established musical taste because I'm just like I have musical friends that I have to go to and be like, hey guys, I'm kind of in a rut where all I'm listening to is like Miley Cyrus or something. Like, what's good? And they're like, okay, here you go. Here's like 3 albums you need to go listen to, and they kind of like redirect me into good music. I have such bad musical taste. It's terrible.
It's getting harder as I get older. Like I'm feeling the age where it's like, I think somebody said your music tastes are like kind of established when you're a teenager, and unless you're like an active like participant in like pop culture, then like, or like you're actively seeking out new music, unless you make it an action part of your life, then like you just like kind of get locked into where you were back then. And I think some of that's true with me. It's really hard for me to get into new stuff, and I go back to old comforts a lot.
Well, I'm definitely gonna be coming to you guys for recommendations because y'all have good like sense about it.
This is gonna identify me as a school shooter saying that I've seen KMFDM live twice, and I have a bunch of KMFDM vinyl.
Oh my gosh! And can somebody clip where Terminal said he's a school shooter?
Flip it and ship it.
What's the chat saying? First concert I paid for myself was Rat-a-tat. Oh my goodness. Second was Decemberists. Wow. Wait, was that early 2000s? Let's see. I'm trying to look at the stage shows and see.
Brian says he listens to NPR Tiny Desk concerts, which I love.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Those are so cool.
Especially when they get the hip hop bands on there. That's the best to see them when they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the one where they like play live in studio? Is that the?
It's just like at the guy's desk, and they just have to set up and improvise a gig.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard it then. I'll have to look it up. That sounds cool.
I need to investigate something over here really quickly.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
What do you think is going on?
Taylor says he loves KMFDM, so there's some crossover there with the heavy metal guys and the industrial music scene.
Yeah, I feel like there was a kind of crossover with metal and industrial.
Well, like that's Elaine Jorgensen Ministry. Have you seen his channel on YouTube? He's got all these it's like all like anti-fascist stuff, and people like it just they downvote him so hard. He's like got this thing about something about white guys, like about it's all really far left stuff, and it's funny because he's like 60 years old.
Who is it?
Ministry, yeah.
Nice.
He's got a whole video where the Proud Boys are in it and they're having sex with somebody. It's like it's a senior citizen, and he's making this really aggressive music.
That's amazing. I'm so politically radicalized and energized since I think since COVID, like my brain really switched. Whereas like this is like primary focus now and things I think about the most. So even my musical taste, like I try to like follow. I try to like lean into music that's like ideologically aligned with where I am. So like that's why I listen to so much Boots Riley right now.
Yeah.
So I have to incorporate some Ministry. Like the genre doesn't matter to me as much as the message. Like I'm really into message these days.
You should listen. Like I used to listen to this band. They came out at the same time that Rage Against the Machine did. They were called Consolidated. They were from the Bay Area, but it was just hip hop, and it's all just radical. It's just straight up communism if you listen to them. So you might like it. It's kind of dated, but you know, it's funny that their message was so strong. Taylor also says that his Godlike shirt needs to be washed. So I'll mention that I had a shirt from KMFDM, and it was like right when they first got on MTV, and the back of the shirt said, "Black man, white man, rip the system." And I would wear the shirt out, and I got approached by this big black guy. He's like, "What does that shirt mean?" And I'm like, "Oh." And I had to explain, it means that some political systems don't benefit anybody.
You had to explain communism to him?
Yeah, yeah. I gotta let my cat in.
Oh, I just got a nice comment on Twitter. One of my most popular videos. It's actually not on the YouTube channel, so you have to like chase it down. I gotta get better at putting stuff on every platform where I have a presence. But I have this video where Iron Man is walking by the actual Elon Musk, and I think it's Iron Man 2. And I just switched out. I used AI to switch out what Iron Man says, and he basically just calls Elon Musk a pedophile to his face. And someone commented, "My stomach hurts. I'm laughing at this." I'm going to retweet it in case you follow me on Twitter and you want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. That's like one of my most popular videos. I never put it on the YouTube channel, except for I think it's a short, but it's not on the main YouTube channel. It's only like.
I'm gonna check that out. That sounds great.
Yeah. It's kind of a banger. It is funny. I like these kind of like 1 second joke videos, but I feel kind of weird putting them on the main YouTube channel because you want to sit down and watch a YouTube video like, all right, the new Justin is out, and you sit down and it's only 1 second long. It's kind of
that's true. That's true.
So maybe I should do like a compilation or something, like all these little 1 second jokes that I have. Make a 10-second video. Terminal, what are you working on right now?
Oh, I was working on that Trump. I went back to doing the Trump video where he gets shot.
Which one?
You want me to share it?
Can you reveal?
I think I did a better job. I think I'm at a better point with it. I can share it.
Yeah. This is awesome. This is the best part. We started doing this we have a Discord together, and if anyone wants to join, maybe send a DM or something. But like we just like trying to build a Discord of cool people. Oh, the kitty's in the background. But we often like present things for feedback for each other. We hang out in the Discord and we just kind of cook together. And we started showing each other rough cuts, and it was a lot of fun. So we want to kind of bring that experience to the folks watching. So
you want me to share this one?
Yeah, I'd love to. So do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see an early cut of Terminal's work in progress?
I'm gonna have to let the cat out here. How did we do this? I have to put in a tab, don't I?
Yeah, I actually pulled up some in a tab. I can show us later.
Oh, do you want to show first?
I can show some. Yeah, while you get set up, I'll show something that I never released. How's that sound?
Okay.
Sorry if the volumes are ahead of time. If the volumes are like too loud or too quiet, I don't quite know how to adjust that yet. But just warning, I'm not sure if it's going to be too loud or too quiet. So here is a video. Let me see if I can find it. Proof of concept. There we go. Terminal. I think I showed you this one.
Yes.
This is one of those projects where I had an amazing amount of raw footage to work with, but I couldn't quite find the story arc and connective tissue to make it really work. People who watch my stuff know that like I try to make everything as seamless as possible and feel like a real video that actually happened, a real viral moment that actually happened. This one I just couldn't get everything tied together enough to make it work. But I found this. There was a series of New York Times interviews with every presidential primary candidate on the Democrat side in the last election. And if you edit it just right, it looks like they're all sitting in the same room talking to each other. And so this was a proof of concept of that video that never really worked out. So this is kind of a dead end video that you can only be seen here. Am I sharing the screen? Let me double check. Yes. And all right, so check this out.
We need to have enough clarity of vision that we can see that the boldness of an idea is not measured only by how many people it can alienate, but by what it can get done. I'm talking about a game-changing transformation that will test the limits of human capacity.
Look, I don't tolerate bullshit terribly well. Sorry.
Maybe waving my arms is not the best way to convey what I care about.
First of all, I'm not quite sure I've not seen
Guess
this
what?
study.
I ain't dead, and I'm not gonna die.
Really?
All right, so I had no idea like what a terminal tried to help me with this. I had no idea where it was going.
I don't care. Like I want more of it. It's so good.
Yeah, there's a few others I have. There's one where they're just like talking about their lunch order that I thought was pretty good, but it didn't really have a point. But I had like this like I thought I could maybe turn them into a series of like micro moments because there's like moments where it really works and it's really funny. But I couldn't tie it into like a larger piece. So maybe there's some kind of framework we can build where I can like release these little short videos that are like little random.
Yeah, there's something there because that's good. I like that.
Brian, yeah, that was actual Pete audio. He just talks in nonsense. What I did is he had a few different moments where he just talks this kind of like very hollow, like you've seen Pete talk. He just like says like nothing. Kamala kind of does that too. But right there, just like I cut up like 4 different times of him just saying nothing and I just strung them together.
I don't want to be, if anybody likes Pete, I'm very Pete agnostic, so but if somebody could help me understand why so many people post a little minute video of him just talking and being like, this guy is an orator of our generation, or like, and I feel like I'm missing something.
Same reason they do that with Jordan Peterson. It's the same reason. It's like people who like, they think they get what he's saying and it's what
yeah, that makes sense because he doesn't really say anything that I haven't heard done better by just like a Sam Seed or like just somebody like even his points will just be like, yeah, gay people are fine, and it's like yeah.
But I mean, it means
I agree.
That's meaningful coming from him though, like a position of power. So I get that.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so I think in some ways, like certain people just resonate with certain people. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Same way you just like find friends is like there's some connection that's like an amalgamation of your experiences and who you are at like a biological level.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people that are just like they see Pete and they're like, that's the fucking dude. You know,
maybe he just really resonates with a lot of people.
Trump that way too.
Yeah.
So you know, it's something that's just like I don't know. You latch on to certain people. Like for me, it was Bernie. You know, some people that, I mean, obviously it was Bernie for you too, looking at your profile.
Yeah, it's an old painting I did. Yeah. Bernie was big.
Yeah, you should show like something you've done like every day on Twitter.
Oh my God,
that would be really
exhausting.
Cool. That'd be like such a neat thing to do, and I think it would build your profile up too.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I hear what you're saying because Walls is kind of doing that with me, where like. I know he's Midwestern and I'm not Midwestern, but just something about him where he's just like he's got that like DIY dad vibe that I'm just like, yeah, I can really resonate with this guy. So I get it. That makes a lot of sense, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, who mentioned Vic Berger? Taylor mentioned Vic Berger. Yeah, Vic the God.
Vic Berger.
Like, a lot of us that are in this kind of like remix space, a terminal. Maybe you are too, but like I know I'm influenced by Vic. Vic's awesome. I'd love to work with Vic someday. I'm trying to do different projects outside of the YouTube stuff that'll like get me in Vic's vision.
It's probably gonna take him long. You could say, I've got a 1 minute video. Can you do 15 frames for me? Or a 1 second video. Can you do 15 frames?
Yeah.
You could probably do it.
I gotta strike while the iron's hot though sometime. Next time something goes viral, that's the time to reach out to him. And just be like, hey, let's do something right now.
All right. So I'll share my.
Yeah. So this is a yet to be released terminal mode special.
So like my biggest video so far has been that we shot a zoo video that's just a trailer with Matt Damon going off with Christy and killing all the animals.
Yeah. He's being shy. He edited Christy Nome into We Shot a Zoo. We Shot a Zoo. We Shot a Zoo. He named it We Shot a Zoo. And it's so good. It's the most viral hit.
Yeah, I get like 100,000 views on it. And it was like totally surprising because I was like, I never get that kind of interaction. But then it turns out like that my entire audience is like over 60.
I love that about you. You have there's only 80 people that are over 65 years old on YouTube. And you got all of them.
It can't be 100% true because sometimes I do that thing where it's asking me for an age verification. I just put in like 1917. So I'm thinking some of it is fake, but a lot of it is just, I think, genuine,
Well, if they're really into like anti-Christy Nome videos, I don't think that anybody even knows who she is. It's under like 40.
Yeah. It could be. So I'm trying to do these, fake movie trailers of just remixing movie trailers to try to hit it off. My Donald Trump one didn't really take off like I was hoping.
I think that one's better, to be honest.
It's got some really funny parts, but I had a hard time getting to that. I had a hard time getting to the point where he goes on his killing spree, and he shoots the shark with the gun. But there's some good stuff there. I got tired of doing it. So I'm still apparently trying to make a Donald Trump movie trailer. So that's what this is. And it's based on Justin was mentioning when Trump got shot, wouldn't it be funny if it changes his whole perspective on everything? Like he had a tumor dislodged from his brain.
Yeah, I said shot the little piece of his brain out that makes him.
And I said, this is a movie that was written by J.J. Abrams called Regarding Henry, starring Harrison Ford. And so I was like looking at this trailer and I was like, I can make this work. So I've started it. I haven't gotten to the point where Trump changes his perspective yet, but I think I got an okay intro for him.
I can't wait for this.
I got to share tab, share audio. So so is this up?
On stream? Yeah, I gotta click it. I might not have done it right last time.
Okay, so
can everyone see that? Yes, I think we can.
All right, so I'll start it.
Yeah.
Here.
Crazy Nancy Pelosi has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Everyone said he should be more civil.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
But being a total dick to everyone.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Worked out pretty damn good for him. Until the day that it didn't.
Clamp on the upper auricle, please. Suction on the earlobe. We're about to lose the ear. It's not working.
This is a life and death situation. Do you choose love or hate?
I will choose love.
Do you promise?
Oh, absolutely. That'll always take precedent with
me. Oh my God, it's got a strong opening. It's got a strong opening.
I think it's okay. I think it needs a little bit more work, but
it needs a little like extra context.
Yeah.
Like it needs to like explain and bring in the announcer again and be like, just literally say what happened.
I'm to the point. I've got
the doctors can say.
Yeah, there's the footage where the doctor explains that, and it's like perfect. It's perfect it's from the movie where he explains that the husband was shot in the head. I want to have Melania there and have, clone her voice and, oh no, not Donald, or make it, I'm thinking I want to have her express disappointment that he was only shot in the air, but try to do it subtly. So
that's so funny. And good job with the music match, because it just has that
Yeah.
I don't even know what that sound is, but I hear it and I immediately think of like that era of movies. So like,
Yeah.
good job with that.
Thank you.
That's so good, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that None Superior. Yeah, AI voice. Some parts. Was it all AI voices, or was it just some parts you kind of interspersed?
I cloned the narrator from those old movies. I also cloned Rona Barrett's voice. I don't know how important that part is, where he's dead and she's saying, you know, do you promise to love or whatever. That's also a clone voice because she doesn't say that in the interview, but he does say
later. That should come like towards the end of the trailer. The place
yeah,
for that kind of spiritual moment is later in the trailer.
Well, the issue is though, I need to have him do all the things that we talked about. You know, he's gonna be playing baseball with Don Jr. and he's gonna blow the kiss to Hulk Hogan. He's gonna do all these things. I want to have the doctor say that I want to have an X-ray of Donald Trump and have it shown and be like, your husband doesn't have a racist bone in his body. No.
He shot his racist brain out.
The racist part of his brain was shot out.
Like it's like a Jenga piece, just like whoop.
He's the least racist person now. So
there's got to be so many clips of him just at a beat. I love black people. Black people I love. He says it so much. So much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a funny idea.
Oh man, yeah, it's
you guys are so good at that. Fuck, you're so creative. I love it.
Oh, it's fun to do, man. I wish we had a team. That's what I like. I feel like if we could, I think we have the skill set and the vision to like put out like a video a week, and just be a banger. But we don't have like a big team of people that can help us because these are like we do the entire post production on these, and it's actually like a lot of work. And like I know my process is like it takes me a long time to like run through a ton of ideas that aren't working. It takes me a long time just to do the edit because it has to be really smooth for it to work. You know, the smoother it is, the funnier it is. And so you know, it kind of carries you away, and I want you to get carried away in those few minutes. But yeah, it just takes so long. So like if I wish I had like a team of like 3 to 5 people and we could just like crank on these one a week, banger, 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 banger.
Well, and you also bring up the point that sometimes when you do these things for so long, you get to moments in time where you're like, oh my God, is this going to work now? Like with the Biden billionaire hunt thing, Justin was like, my heart's not in this, you know. And then I actually did a video and I shared it with Justin the day before. We were talking about having Joe Biden. I could. Oh, I don't know if I should share it. Where Joe Biden goes on a suicidal rampage, killing Donald Trump in a bunch of various ways. And one of the ones, it's to the song, the Cypress Hill song, "How I Could Just Kill a Man." I wrote out lyrics the night before about how he was going to shoot, and then it happened. I was like, I can't put this video out now because I you know, it was like one of those moments. Same thing for the video. I just did the Kamala dance video. I was like, oh, I'm doing this video. And as the more and more I got into it, I was like, what happens if she picks Josh Shapiro? I'm going to fucking hate this video.
Yeah. Well, it happened with me with the
John Fetterman.
John Fetterman video. Yeah. Like I made like, that was a great video and it was a banger and did really well. And it took that was a good collaborative effort too. One of my old editor partners, Chris, he and I worked on that for like one day a week for like 3 or 4 weeks. So we just get together and just get stoned and go crazy editing this thing. And it turned out really good. He did some amazing special effects. He put like Ben Shapiro on the stage with Fetterman clapping. Like he did that so seamless.
That video is like your most technically sophisticated, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's awesome because of it. And like I think I'm just so proud of that video. And then Fetterman turned out to be such a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as like Palestine happened, he just went off the rails. And so like now I have this embarrassing video, but it's kind of actually prophetic in a different way. It's Ben Shapiro endorsing John Fetterman.
Yeah, it was like manifested with that one.
The same video.
Yeah.
Now he's on the same team as Ben Shapiro, so it kind of like it was a curl of the monkey's paw to like make that.
It's funny you bring up the assassination one because I did I don't know what you call it, like a strip or like a little comic page of like somebody taking out a Supreme Court justice, like sniping, and it ends up being one of the what do they call those women that are in those outfits. Yeah. It ends up being one of them. And I had it almost like ready to go. I was going to post it, and it's it's a little bit graphic of like which is the Supreme Court justice that I'm trying to think of. Not Gorsuch, one of them. It doesn't matter. You know, getting his brain shot out. One of those old assholes. Yeah. And then I heard about Trump, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I can do this now. Like, I don't think I can put this up for any time soon.
I don't know if I'm going to put it on the stream, but I did make a meme of Joe Biden putting on a suicide vest in the mirror. It was like right before Biden dropped, they had this rhetoric that was like, Trump is an existential threat to America. We must do anything we can to stop him. He's like, he's Mango Mussolini, Hitler. I mean, maybe not Biden's not calling him Mussolini, but like, you know what I mean? It's
right.
Like everyone's trying to build the impression, which I agree with, that like, this guy's going to destroy America. And like, okay, well, if you believe that, like, kill him, Biden. Like, if you believe he is the next Hitler, then like, you're going to try to just like beat him in the election, and that's it. Like, don't you like drone strike kids regularly? Like, can't you just drone strike Mar-a-Lago?
I mean, this is what I mean about us being on that same page, because that was my whole thinking behind what I made too. Was it was during that June when all of these rights were being taken away, and every June we have all these Supreme Court justice. We just sit back and watch things erode away, and everybody's like, "All right, we got to do everything we can." Yeah. And it's like, what I know what you mean is vote as hard as you can. I know.
Yeah, I know. But like, I know that thing we do, like we spend an hour every 4 years.
Right. But what about after that? Like, if you really don't want Handmaid's Tale, like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. It sounds like that's what you were thinking too. And then somebody does do it, and you go, "All right, I'm gonna hold off on this." I'm gonna hold back.
The greatest. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't say anything else about this topic.
Well, what's funny though is that it just happened recently, but it's like no longer even. It's like so many weird things happen around Trump that he made this thing disappear because he was always involved in some kind of scandal, and when something happened, you would want to stick around. It's like gone. Like
it's gone.
I made the joke the other day that it's like the Hindenburg happening and being able the next day to talk about, joke about the humanity of all those people dying. It's like almost that quick of a turn of events.
I think it's a kind of a double-edged sword that like we have so much media and access to media at all times, and like we see so much crazy stuff just scrolling every day now that like we become desensitized to a lot of crazy things, and there's so much information now that like time moves faster, or the perception of time is quicker. Like the president getting shot, like Kennedy got shot in the head, and we're still like, people are still traumatized about it today. Like Trump got shot in the head, and nothing, nobody cares that he didn't die. But I mean, that would have been crazy to see that. That would have been like 4K.
That would have been wild. I'm curious what's gonna last longer, like in our collective memories, the shot or the fact that they wore around those big pads on their ears during the convention. Because that's still firmly in my brain. I think about that every day.
Here's the thing about that. I think that's nuts. But can you say, Southpaw, that if that wasn't Bernie that happened to, you wouldn't show up at his rally with the patch on your ear?
Bernie?
I don't.
If it was Bernie, okay.
If it was Bernie who not Bernie who took the shot. I mean, if Bernie
Bernie took the shot.
Yeah. If someone tried to assassinate Bernie and he got shot in the ear, in 2016 through like 2020, I would have put that patch in my ear and gone to a rally. No doubt. No doubt.
Interesting. I don't think I would, but I get your point. It's just, but they're like 60. Like it's. I don't know. Anyways, I just think it's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild.
Justin, do you want me to share any of that other video, or do you think it's too racy, too spicy?
Hold on. Let me just read a couple comments first. I can think about it. Let's see. Oh, Brian, good suggestion from Brian. Need him getting his hair spun up on Jimmy Fallon.
Saw that.
Fuck Jimmy Fallon, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Fuck Jimmy Fallon. Let's see. June is National None Superior. June is National Rights Erosion Month. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, good. I like that. That's funny. I mean, not funny, but you get what I'm saying.
I think he meant horrific. Yeah, that was it.
It's terrible, but I like that joke.
Okay. What was your question, Terminal? You want to show some of that video?
Oh no, I was mentioning. I have that Trump Biden thing that I'm sure it even means anything anymore now that Biden's not.
Biden's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I could share some of it. But
you guys remember how Biden's president right now?
Yeah, it seems.
I think they're
Isn't that weird? He doesn't feel at all like a president right now.
He's disappeared. Like I honestly, I mean, one of two things is happening. Either he's just like using the heat on, like, all the heat's eyes are on Kamala right now. So maybe he's just like not going on TV and just doing his thing, like getting whatever he wants to get done. I think that's the fantasy version of it. The real version of it, he's probably just like not going to work anymore. I mean, he was already down like 4 hours a day that he was functional.
You know what? Good for him. Retire. Enjoy your retirement. I'm here for it. Do your thing, man. Go be a grandpa.
The thing that I don't like though is that people are treating Kamala like she's in charge right now.
Yeah,
trying to hold her to the same degree of account that he is, because he's far worse than she is. And
I agree.
For people to come at her, it's the downside of it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, do you want to show that video, or do you think it's too?
I don't know. I mean, I have another robot video. It's slow.
Yeah.
I
love your robot. You know, I love your robot videos.
Southpaw loves it. Loves Digby.
Dude, I love that. I'm a fucking kid. I love that robot videos.
It's a little slow, but I think I did an okay job with this one.
Do you do the voice?
I do.
Yeah. I'm all in. All right,
time for another Terminal Mode exclusive.
Well, this is like something I did before Terminal Mode was even in existence. I was just trying to, I think I did a lot of these during COVID. I got crazy and I was like, I'm going to make a robot in my garage. And that's where I went with COVID.
Dude, that's what I love about you, that you just go, I'm going to make a robot. That's awesome.
All right. So let's see here. Chrome tab. Let's see here. Where is it? All right. Here it is.
All right, let's see.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. Show on stream. Okay, let's go.
Hello. Animal abuse and neglect is a serious problem in this country. When I heard the tragic story of my little friend Fuzzby here, I was absolutely horrified. Completely battered and bruised, dejected, emaciated, and near death. At the time he was brought to the emergency room, Fuzzby had lost 5 times as much blood as his body could produce, and 11 times as much blood as his body could hold. The attending physician said that this level of abuse measured 7.5 times higher on the Wogsford Index than any she had previously seen. Over the course of this abuse, most of the tiny bones in his body were broken into fragments, and those fragments were broken into even smaller fragments, and so on and so forth, until poor Fuzzby here didn't have any real bones left to speak. At this point, I guess his bones were not so much bones, but instead a fine dust-like powder. The doctor informed me that it would be incredibly difficult to reconstruct that powder into any kind of structured bone form that wouldn't make it look completely horrific or disgusting. Ironically, his abuse would have continued indefinitely were it not for Fuzzby's numerous and extremely expensive medical conditions. His previous owners confessed that even though they wanted to keep him alive, it was only because they liked having a small animal they could kick around, shout profanities at, and occasionally forced to watch Tucker Carlson segments. Unfortunately for them, but fortunately for Fuzzby, his medical expenses were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the owners could no longer afford to keep him. Even though Fuzzby undoubtedly has a terminal and very painful medical condition, as well as numerous explosive bowel and bladder disorders.
Oh no.
And most likely I will have to take a reverse mortgage to bear the cost of these burdens. Adopting Fuzzby is the best thing I have ever done. I have taken this little guy in. I have made my home his home. And I will love him more than anything in the world for the remaining few years, days, or possibly hours he has left. Fuzzby has brought so much meaning and joy into my life. Who rescued who? Am I right, little buddy? Little buddy. Fuzzby?
No.
Oh my god. I love that there's like, it took me okay, here's a little behind the scenes of how my brain works. It took me a while to get into Terminal stuff because his stuff you really have to like sit down and be committed for, because it is long, but it being long is half the humor.
Oh, it's got that. I love it. It's so funny.
I just love like the more he just kept talking, the funnier it got. And also just knowing you too, it's just like, I love that you put so much effort and thought into it and how long you've been writing that.
I'd done like 6 different episodes of that. And I was like, that was my original idea, was I was going to make a robot and he's going to try to reach out through social media to people by pandering. First thing, he's adopting an injured animal. And the other one was going to be it was all just like social media outreach. I can't remember the other episodes. Oh, one is where he's like talking about his favorite book, and how it's like the favorite book that you like. And the other one is I think I showed part of the music one with Anthony Fantano. I have that one's finished, but I haven't done anything with it because I'm like, I don't really know how to promote it or put it out. It doesn't. I put one of his videos on my channel, it just died, and I'm like, oh, I'm never going to do that again.
I didn't realize that was some, like, he was trying to do. He was doing that for clicks. Like, that's funny.
The whole thing is he's trying to relate to people.
I didn't realize that. That makes it so much better. That's great. How do we get that? I think that's a really good idea. I don't know how to convince you to do it, but I think that's really good. I love it.
I appreciate it.
I feel like it's one of those things where if it's on TV, it just needs if it's on TV, people will watch it. Like, it's so good, but I think
it almost needs. Oh, sorry.
It's not content-y. Like everyone who's watching and who's online, even on YouTube, they're looking for content, and it's not as much content as it is a show.
It almost needs like an opening theme or something that sort of quickly explains what it is, because that
credit sequence even.
Yeah, you know how like the beginning it'd be like, these are the 4 Ninja Turtles and this is what they do and blah blah blah. Here we go, and then here's the show. You know what I mean? Like the way they used to do opening themes where they explain everything.
Yeah,
just something where it's like, and I don't even know how to do it, but like, knowing that now makes it 10 times funnier to me.
Yeah,
that's
an interesting thought. If you have some kind of like a credit sequence or opener, like, because for me, when I see that, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, because it's just like a crazy robot talking, and like I have such content brain that if I'm not like hooked in the first 5-10 seconds, that it's like I move on. But you need to be like hooked into yours to really get the experience of it and really let the comedy hit you. You got to be plugged into it, So if there's some way to like have an opener that hooks you right away, and then you can settle into your chair and let it wash over you, and then it's really good.
Well, that's partly why I've been trying to pressure you and me to get out there and kind of make ourselves more present in what we do. So I could maybe introduce something like that, like this character could come on and he could, I invented him. I went on people's streams with him, because he's a robot, and I could put him before my camera, and then he goes on to things, and like, Justin and my first interaction was, I was like, I'm gonna have the robot interview you, Justin. So I have this video sitting on my hard drive of Justin totally like, he's like, oh my God, this is gonna be how the world. Justin's like uncomfortable. He's like,
I'm so faking it too. I'm like trying to like figure out how to be interviewed by like an inanimate object.
We hardly knew each other either, and I'm like super nervous.
It was like the first time, like second time we talked or something.
Yeah,
you interview me with this, you show up with this robot to interview me, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Justin is like, is this really what I have to do to try to? Another call I have to
You're gonna have to release that at some point. That's good. That's good, like bonus content.
That's great.
Well, I was trying to integrate. I was thinking of making a show where he could be like a guest, like my co-host or whatever. So I have like the Termcast intro.
Corvair just said.
Yeah, I was like, thank you. You know,
I talk about this every day with Terminal. Anytime we talk, I say the same thing too.
What do you say?
So the Comedy Channel Collective. Like it needs to be like you know, like we don't have TV stations anymore, but we could make one on YouTube that has a lot of different creators on it that are all making funny stuff. So they all kind of like draw on different audiences, and all the audiences kind of mix, and you get to introduce new content that way. They treat it like it's its own streaming service or something. A collective YouTube channel with a lot of everyone who's funny on it.
So I'm gonna share the intro to my Termcast IRL show where Digby's introduced.
Oh, is this the one with one of my favorite jokes in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll share that. And this is like one of the ways I was thinking, how can I get this stupid robot character into my channel in which people don't really my channel, you know, that it's weird. Like I don't want it to just put it up there and me be disillusioned and not do anything with it ever again.
That's the hard thing when the numbers don't hit, like you feel like you put so much effort and the numbers just aren't there. Like that's like one of the few measures of success that we have. And like, because we don't get to see an audience really. Like if you had 500 people watch your video, it looks like nothing on the channel. But then like if you're in a room with 500 people watching, that would feel different.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't get that. Oh, can you try to share that? Let me.
This is just 22 seconds for
I think I can do it.
The proof of concept for my show.
There we go.
This is Termcast IRL with your host, Terminal Mode, featuring America's darling, Digby the Robot. This is Termcast.
I love it.
I love how you just skip past fudge rounds. That's my favorite joke that you've ever made. What do you call America's sweetheart or darling? America's sweetheart, and just pan away from him. Oh my god, I love that. What a funny throwback it is now too. If you were to put it out now, it's a funny throwback. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was thinking that he could be like the musical guest on the show.
You got an entire show here. It's like, man, what you should do is put out the show. Maybe put it on a new channel or something, or maybe even the same channel, and then we'll just pull all the funniest content style clips out of it, like those big one hitters, and we start like putting those on social to draw people into the full show on YouTube.
Yeah, I've been
use them as like mini commercials for the full show.
I've been going through a lot of my old stuff and trying to refine some of the concepts. Like on my YouTube channel, I had Jordan Peterson doing Deep Thoughts, where it's just him and it's the old Saturday Night Live Jack's handy segments. But it was kind of like, it was really rough because at the time I didn't have the AI voices. So I'm like cleaning this up, and I want to try to make this like a regular thing and then like include it in a little segment where I could just pop the stuff in there. And it looks, the newer version of it is much more refined.
I want to see that. I made the pilot.
You made the
Jordan Peterson talking in the mirror, like this. Jordan Peterson does some self-reflection.
Yeah.
That's the pilot.
Yeah,
that could be a whole series. Yeah. He's so demented.
You got so many good ideas. Like we got to make them happen. They're so good.
Here's the number one secret. I need a budget. We need a budget.
The secret is money.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
because we have I think we have a lot of cool stuff that we could do, but we're just, I mean, it's like everything else in our system. It's paywalled, you know.
Yeah.
Like making your dreams come true is paywalled in most cases. No matter what career path you choose, no matter what your interests are, like in order to reach the levels that, you know, to become a master or to produce something that people really appreciate on a mass scale, you got to be rich for the most part. I mean, some people get lucky, and that's kind of like the fantasy. I live in Hollywood. that's like the fantasy out here is like you're going to be an actor, you're going to show up, and you're going to do your thing, you're going to be the one out of 7,000 new people that look just like you that came to the city this year. You're going to be the one.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's just like it's with every career path, people that get those big opportunities, they're like born into wealth.
For me, though, it's like I'm not really necessarily motivated. I'm fortunate not to be motivated by money.
Oh, I'm motivated by I want to put the stuff out, but I need money to get there.
Yeah, but like I get demotivated because like what I want to do is make like really kind of weird but somewhat profound statements on things and then put that out. And then whenever I try to do that, I get so little return. And so then I'm like, oh, the effort, like I made that video with Ariana Grande and the Fudge Rounds guy. I spent so much time on it. Like
that's your most like high production one.
And like it went absolutely nowhere. And it's like so demotivating. I'm like, well, why put all that effort forth if like nobody gets to enjoy it? And then I get rewarded for stupid stuff. Like,
dude, I feel that so much. It's so annoying.
The videos that took me like less than 3 hours to make are always the ones that do better than the ones that take weeks to make, except with the exception of the Bernie Sanders experience. That took me like a month to make that.
I clipped Trump saying that he was Joe boning. Like it was just out of an interview. It was just, I didn't edit it up at all. It was just something he said. He said jaw boning, but he pronounced it Joe boning. I was Joe boning. I clipped it. It was like, it took me literally 20 seconds of time, put it up on YouTube, and it was like my most popular YouTube shorts ever. And so I'm like, fuck this format that they want me to do garbage. Anytime I try to do anything meaningful, it goes absolutely nowhere.
That's what I really like this, and I think this is why Corvair is even more right than they realize. I think like what we have in common, Terminal.
That's a really good joke by Corvair Win there, by the way.
What did he say?
You should read it.
You read it. Which one is it?
I did a Let's Play for an entire year and got 11 followers. So don't give up on your dreams. You too can succeed like I did.
He gets it.
Yeah. But what we have in common is not necessarily our final products. Like if you put us on the same channel, you'd know there was two different people behind these. But what connects us is that we're deep into messaging. Like if you watch our content, you know what the whole point of it is. We're doing like mini video essays. We're doing like meme video essays. Like every one of the videos I put out, like what the message is at the end. Terminal's the same way. We just speak a slightly different language, but we're both editors. But I think that's what connects us is the messaging. So I think, more to Corvair's point, it's interesting that we think about a collective channel more and then use these little viral things that only take less than 3 hours. But the ones that go viral on other platforms, use those as like to entice people to the main channel because they get more reach than our long form stuff. The one joke gets a lot more play than the 3-minute video.
Going back to the 11 followers comment, though, I do actually believe that it's more important to have a quality following than it is a quantity following. Like if you look at some people's followings, like there's a lot of people who maybe don't get the message. They think exactly the opposite of you. And I don't feel, I'm sure some people are comfortable in those spaces, but I don't feel comfortable knowing that somebody watches my video thinking that, I'm saying something exactly the opposite that I'm not. And so like, I wish that the systems would reward you more for a quality like than just a quantity like I feel more often than not getting 2,000 likes on something is hollower than if you get a like from somebody that you really really like or respect.
Yeah I feel that. I think for me, I'm interested in quantity for two reasons. One, the more quantity there is, the more I can churn it into something that generates some revenue so I can do this full time.
Yeah, I see that.
But then two, I think it's kind of like casting a wide net. It's so hard to find, like, there's some people that, like, we were talking about Buttigieg earlier, how some people just like locked into him and connected with him because, but it's not easy to find those people. We're all dispersed across different platforms. Some people are only on TikTok, but they might be your #1 viewer that just never saw your stuff. So like finding people It's kind of like casting a wide net. So if you want to find those 1 or 2, 10, 50 people that are really into your stuff, the numbers that you really connect with and you could like be friends with, they're so connected to your work. You have to cast a really wide net to find them sometimes. Like, what are the chances if 5 people see your channel, one of them is going to be your biggest fan? Pretty low. So, I think for that,
Yeah, I think
go broad.
I think I'm like a really good example of that, because I had not seen you guys, any of your stuff, and then just by happenstance, Chuds brought me in, and now I love y'all's work. Y'all are, and I think we kind of are all on the same wavelength of like what we like and what we don't like. And I just know on like Twitter, I'll like see one of you guys like it. I'm like, hell yeah, that means it's a good one. That type of thing.
I feel the same way whenever you retweet me. I'm like, oh, got it.
Yeah, right. So like, and that's just a reach thing at a certain point. Like I wouldn't have seen it if Chuds hadn't brought me in, and so.
It's not easy to find stuff anymore. Like, if you had a TV show or something, the chance that you might stumble across it is higher than the chance that you're going to like stumble across a small YouTube channel or like somebody a small account on Twitter. Everyone flocks. I'm naturally, I do this too. You flock to the biggest accounts because there's some measure of like, a big an account with a lot of numbers. Big subscribers, big views. There's like a built-in measure of like, oh, this is a successful person, that what they do is worth watching. So if I see 1 million views, the chance that I'll watch it is a lot higher than I see something with 1 view. Because time isn't infinite, so you kind of like use those numbers as a measure of quality and worth. So
I really think if there's any way I can help bring the robot to reality, let me know. I love him so much.
Well, maybe you want to work on some background art or something like it.
I could do that. I can help. Just let me know like what I can do, because he's great. I wish I still had my old editing software. I used to edit. I don't know if that. Yeah, I used to work. I used to do some editing for TLC. It's been so long, and I don't have like I don't have any software or anything anymore.
Was it TLC when it was like nature documentaries, or TLC when it was Amish Mafia?
Oh, I used to work on the Duggars, so like it was that era of TLC. Yeah.
Good. So you mean good TLC?
Yeah. Peak TLC.
You probably Blender is free, and you can edit in that, and also like you can do 3D modeling. It's like so powerful.
Blender. Okay, I'll look that up. Thanks.
I'd be happy. Like Justin and I talked about maybe doing like a tutorial about how to do things, because it's really like just the simple video interface is really easy. Is if you've ever chopped up a sound wave or done anything like that, Blender.
Okay.
And it has like tons of really cool options for compositing, and so it's.
Yeah, I was doing it in like Avid and Final Cut Pro and stuff like that. So if it's anything like that, I could probably hop back into it. That's good to know. I appreciate that.
I remember I worked for a guy who had an Avid system in a community college, and it was like hooked up to like, I think this was in the time of maybe like Pentium 4s or whatever, and this Avid system was so hot that he had to put a bucket of ice and blow air over the card that was processing. This was back like before Macintoshes could even multitask. So
I still have to put an ice pack on my laptop sometimes when I render out. Or even just to edit. Like I got it cleaned recently. It's full of cat hair, but I had to put an ice pack on. It was always overheating anytime I would open Premiere.
Wow.
Yeah,
you guys are doing some real like complex stuff too. Like I was just doing like reality show stuff. Like it's not that big a deal, but you guys are really getting in there and doing stuff.
You had a lot of strict standards to meet too. I've done some TV stuff too, and it's like, I don't know, what were you doing? Were you like the main editor? Were you an assistant? Were you doing like?
I did a couple of like online, just like webisode type of things when they're trying to expand into that, and then moved over to a little bit of assistant editing, and then ended up leaving because of stuff. But that's about as far as I got with it. I didn't become one of the main editors. Those guys they churn real fast.
Really?
Yeah.
They just get burned.
Well, it's just they have 5 to 7 editors working on like 12 shows, and they're just like blowing through it, and like depending on who's shooting it, like we were working with this guy named Scott Enlow, who's he's a brilliant cinematographer, camera guy, and he would be able to just like almost shoot an entire episode just in camera. He just had an eye for he'll send you an hour tape to do a 45-minute episode. Like, he was just really good at it. But that was one guy. There's another guy who would send you 7 tapes to cut a 45-minute episode out of, and it's like,
if anybody wants to know some behind the scenes of post-production, onlining, I mentioned online editing. That's when you're replacing you're kind of doing like the very final stage of the edit. It's not creative editing. It's more like all the things you do before you put it out on TV. Like if you're shooting the raw footage, you're replacing it with the colorized footage that you got from like a color house. You're replacing the final sound mixes in. You're doing like localization, getting the right subtitles for the right regions and things like that. So it's all like the very last step stuff of the editing process, and that's where a lot of people start out. And it's a very like tech job. And then assistant editing is like you are doing all the organization. You are pulling a lot of clips. Sometimes you get to edit a scene for the main editor to take a look at, but oftentimes it's another technical position. And both of those are like, to me, both of those are very hard, long hours, and not fun.
No.
And it's kind of like a rite of passage. If you want to work in Hollywood, you have to go through those steps first, unless you're rich and you can just do whatever. You can just walk. Somebody's kid is a big one.
Exactly.
Justin, your long-term follower, Cornelia, says, wait, you stream.
Cornelia, what's up? I love Cornelia. They've been around for a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're just starting to stream now. We've been trying to, we have a Discord. Yeah, you know the Discord. And we've been trying to practice a little bit in there, and we tried another show before. We're just like, I don't know, I feel like our work, because we're all content creators here, so it's like, I feel like our work is better when people know us, because all of our work's very personal too. And I felt like really when I met Terminal, I was like, I didn't have a full appreciation for his work until I met him.
You didn't appreciate me at all.
Yeah, I hated the guy. I hated him. That's why he was the first guy in the Discord, because I hated him so much. So once I met Terminal and started talking with him, I loved his work so much more, and I felt like that, I want to bring that feeling to other people too. So us getting over the fear of like being on camera and actually presenting ourselves alongside of our work, I think will enhance it. And I hope it'll enhance it. So yeah, this is us kind of like peeking out from, we're editors. We're used to like just like being alone in dark rooms and not talking to anybody else. So,
yep.
I mean, my room's still dark, but at least like there's some other people in here now.
So anybody have any other questions or do you have anything else you want to share, Southpaw or Justin?
Oh, I don't have anything.
I guess some stuff.
You have so much stuff. You just keep it secret.
Yeah, you keep it close to the chest, Southpaw, but your stuff is awesome. I want to see more.
Thanks. I'll put more stuff out. I'm real bad about that. I'll just paint something, throw it out there, and if it does nothing, I go, well, that was that. And then I gotta move on.
The Rashida Tlaib.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love that one. We should share that again. I'll retweet it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Terminal. I want to show you one. I don't know if I ever showed you this before, but I think this one's more up your alley. Actually, maybe take a look at it and tell me if there's anything there. But I tried to, and this one needs a little preface because it's just like 2 scenes, but they're not really connected. So I need to give a little context to it. So it's a play on V for Vendetta. It's B for Vendetta. And I made this around the time that Bernie was dropping out of the primary to endorse Biden. And then the new mission was to like put Biden's corpse in the White House instead of Trump. Right. So this entire thing came from the feelings I was having at that time. So, and I used V for Vendetta as like a platform for it. So let me know. I feel like this is up your alley because it's a lot of like movie remixing. Here we go. All right, and again, I apologize if the volume is not, either too loud or too quiet. I just don't know how to really adjust that yet. So just be prepared. Hitting play.
My friends, we are in the midst of a defining and pivotal moment.
That's Bernie as V.
For our country and the planet.
Hold on. There's supposed to be more dialogue here. Oh, did I fuck it up? Maybe I'll skip forward some. So you get the idea.
Today, America and the world are once again moving toward authoritarianism, and the same right-wing forces of oligarchy, corporatism, nationalism, racism, and xenophobia are on the march. We have a demagogue in the White House attempting to deflect the attention of the American people away from the real crises that we face, and instead.
Yeah, there's dialogue missing here because it is a really rough cut, but the intention is more Bernie's speech here.
With so many crises converging upon us simultaneously, it is easy for us to become overwhelmed or depressed, or even to throw up our hands in resignation. But my message to you today is that if there was ever a moment in the history of our country where despair was not an option, this is that time. If there was ever a moment when we needed to stand up and fight against the forces of oligarchy and authoritarianism, this is that time.
Listen, the guy could give a speech.
It is time.
I was just about to say, I missed this, Bernie.
Dude,
for the American
it's crazy that this is a guy who's almost
and
president.
fight for their right to freedom, human dignity, and security. The only way.
If Bernie was hot, he would have won.
What do you mean if? What are you talking about?
In which millions of people.
Sorry, this is so long. I would have trimmed it way down if this was the final version. It would have been like 30 seconds max.
When did you do this? That what you mentioned
years ago. This was like, it was at the end of the last primary.
It reminds me of the video that I made with Mark Zuckerberg, where at the end, Bernie's on all the television screens.
Yeah. That the working class of this country won that war.
I love that line. If there's going to be class war in this country, it's about time that the working class won that war. Hell yeah.
I honestly, like, if you're not going for funny, that's inspirational. Like, I really legitimately am like pumped after hearing old Bernie. Like, maybe that's how you approach it. I don't know. I like
the guy could give a speech, man. People didn't realize.
Yeah, I forgot.
Like, underestimated for how well. What a good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he didn't have the balls to really be a leader in the way that he needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he could have been.
Yeah, I don't know if he had good speech writers or if he just was really good at like staying on message or. But yeah, I had forgotten how much I enjoyed like getting pumped up with his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying, for American context, he's saying very revolutionary stuff too, and like.
Yeah.
Anyway, sad now. Fleeting moments, but he's like our socialist kindergarten teacher, so you kind of have it.
Yeah.
So what happens? Again, this is none of this is like made, so you have to just like give you a little extra context. So I couldn't figure out how to make it, so I just kind of gave up on it. But the idea next is that like because Bernie steps out of the race, right? So he puts Biden in the V suit. And Biden is like, and so this is what the ending is. We're putting Biden in the V suit to get rid of Trump, and this is what the next part is.
I got hairy legs, and I'm jumping on my back. The kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
Okay, I like it.
I think we're supposed to be Natalie Portman.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Joe 30330.
Oh, here's Biden. He's still sleeping. I feel like this is so terminal mode.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. Make sure the kids hear words. We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
Truth over facts.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the, you know the thing.
Forgot about that.
Please. Bye-bye.
Justin, you're not known for those sort of special effects. That's not something you normally see.
That's why I feel like this one's like, you should have made it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you shy away from the non-photorealistic. I think it.
I know it got a little jib jabby at the end, which I'm not proud of.
I like it. I can see what you're saying though. Having the opening of it be a little snappier. Now that I understand kind of what you're going for, yeah, I think that worked. But yeah, that's really good. I love that idea. I think that's funny.
The hair legs thing is funny.
I just wish I could have I couldn't I feel like they got to be like contained stories. I feel like they got to take you away in the time that you're watching them. So they really got to be sharp. And they really have to have strong connective tissue. Like it was made for that purpose. Like I have to make V for Vendetta. Like if that movie didn't exist and this version is the only one that existed. So not being able to achieve that, I just feel like it's not up to snuff.
And we also have that thing where like you sit on a video, you work on it for so long, and at one point it becomes almost like irrelevant, you know, with Biden being where he's at. Like, I feel that way about a lot of the stuff that I had lined up. Like I was making that video where Biden comes out to that pro-Palestinian song that gets banned on TikTok or wherever it gets banned. He comes out and then I changed all the banner to say, you know, stop the genocide in Gaza. And now he's not really functional. So I don't even know why I should finish that video.
Yeah.
So. I'm releasing all of my Gaza stuff on my YouTube channel. I decided.
Really?
Yeah. I'll give you a brief story. This is exclusive for the, 10 people watching or whatever. So since October, I put out a bunch of Gaza videos, but I use a pseudonym because I work in Hollywood, and at the time people were getting fired, and I couldn't have my for being like pro-Palestinian or saying stop the genocide. So, and I had a baby on the way, and I just couldn't risk it. But being if someone Googles my name, if they want to hire me for a gig and they Google me, and the first thing up is like some pro-Palestine video in like October or November.
Oh yeah.
Now it's changing, so I can talk about it. But I use a pseudonym named Kenneth Alert, and I put out a bunch of videos under the pseudonym, and some of them did pretty well. I got a couple write-ups. I got a write-up in Venture Beat, a whole interview, and also the Atlantic. I didn't know this until a few days ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mentioned Kenneth Flirt in a piece. But yeah, I'm gonna release them all. Maybe do something like give an intro to it like this. Not sure yet, but I think I want to put it out and just like, I don't know, keep the conversation going about Palestine, because it's so easy to forget it now with so much going on. But like that's the issue of our time. And that's still happening, and it's horrendous. So if we, at the very least, we can keep the conversation going. Hopefully, maybe a little bit.
Is it frustrating, or do you feel satisfied that like you're getting your write-ups about it, but it's not your name on it?
I don't care, because it's
okay.
Every piece is two things. It's a self-expression that like this is how I deal with like little, I deal with like mini traumas this way, like in media, like you see something really stupid and it just like, this happens in Terminal too, just something that sticks in your mind like glue.
Oh yeah.
like bubblegum under the desk, and you have to just like excise the demon and
Yep.
make a video about it.
Yep.
But it also was like, this is like a little bit mission driven too. Like I was trying to like use, a lot of it's AI based, and I was trying to use the new tool of AI to like get in trouble basically and like generate. Yeah, like the first one I put out, maybe not the first one, but the biggest one I put out was Jill Biden calling for the end of the genocide. And being like, this video, this is a message to my husband Joe, the world's biggest cheerleader for the genocide happening in Gaza. It's like one of the, something like that is the opening line.
Yeah,
it's all like pretty flawless Jill Biden.
That's awesome.
So
yeah,
have I visited
that makes total sense.
Palestine the last 6 months? No, both of those things sound like a nightmare. And yeah. So yeah, I think I want to release them on the main channel.
Yeah.
Just so people can see, and then maybe it'll keep the conversation going a little bit.
For sure.
I like trying to get in trouble with AI.
They need to take steps to rein it in so it's not abused in ways that
yeah. Well, that's part of the goal of like having Joe Biden call for like a purge of billionaires, because I want to get in trouble. I want people like, oh, did I tell you that somebody reached out about the Donald Trump and Joe Biden have died Bernie video that I made?
Oh, really? I love that video.
Reached out to me because for two reasons. One, they want to tell me they might give me a cease and desist, because reason number two, their colleague was in the video. The blonde newscaster in the video, like her colleague called me. It's like they want to ask me questions about AI and stuff, but also like to tell me that they might try to like sue me if I don't stop.
Oh my God, I love that video, and I love when I see it out in the wild, and I'm just like, and I'll tag you, and I'll be like, "Here's one."
Yeah.
There's another guy using it. I love it. I love seeing that thing out in the wild. That's a great video.
That was like that moment that that dropped. I feel like like the temperature of the country was just like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Like,
yeah.
I just died right now. Everyone would be like, oh, well, yeah, okay, cool. Brunch, or like.
It really would. Yeah, it wouldn't have felt that weird.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. XM550. They are a nightmare. Unfortunately, have to go due to work. Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah. Tough. It's a tough thing to talk about. I talk about it enough on Twitter. Just don't want to talk about it as much here. But I think it was like, I feel like because I was also like about to have a baby right before that happened, and then now I had a baby while it's happening, and I'm holding my baby and then I see on my scroll on my phone, I see dead babies, and I hold my baby, then dead baby, and I hold my baby, dead baby.
Yeah.
They look like the same thing. I think there's like me. There's me like before October, and then there's me after October. I think they're you say you've seen my work change since 2020. I think it changed a lot since October too. Because I think that we are all collectively, obviously Palestinians are experiencing the world's largest trauma currently. I think a lot of people like domestically here that are scrolling, like a lot of young people are having some kind of collective trauma moment with it as well. Like we've never seen this kind of horror on 4K streamed live. And just the grossest possible horror movie stuff you could ever imagine, but in real life and done to kids. And we see them by the hundreds. And it's a really like, people are, I don't know. I know for me, it's like it breaks your mind in some way and makes you disillusioned with a lot of things, and it really hurts. And I think a lot of the young people that are younger than me, people that are like 15, that are scrolling like Instagram Reels or TikTok, seeing this just a vertical scroll, and they're just seeing this stuff. It's like, how are you gonna grow and develop as a normal functioning member of society when you've seen like 1,000 mutilated kids?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we used to watch, dating myself, like the Faces of Death videos or whatever.
Yeah.
And
we talked about this before. Did
We
I
might
ask
have.
you about the monkey getting its brains eaten, where they're
I
pounding on the
remember
table?
that.
The monkey's head is
Yeah.
in the table, and they're pounding.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. There's so many that like at the time it was just like you're the toughest of the tough or whatever, you know. And for those of us that have like that aren't, we're just like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm so tough at what, but it really affects you. Like I still remember the stuff that I saw, and you had to really go out of your way to find that stuff. That wasn't, you know, that
It wasn't
you had
served to you in a trough.
Exactly.
That is my big problem with it. Is it seems like a lot of it is designed to manipulate from all sides, and you don't really. All these tech companies, they don't give a shit about Gaza or keeping us informed. Their motivation is just to keep us on these pages and engaged. And I feel like there is an element of me that really doesn't. I'm uncomfortable with that.
Totally.
It's in this space that is just people aren't getting like you said, a 15-year-old getting these images, but not necessarily getting any kind of context is fucking problematic. And like my main thing is why, like I kind of come a little hard at Justin sometimes about his position is like, I see so much of the same kind of comments on these feeds where it's like some guy who supports Trump going into like a leftist, you know, post and saying, yeah, Kamal is a genocider. And look at the way she talked to the protesters. It really fucking bothers me.
Yeah.
There's no way to determine sincerity. Like I totally laid into somebody that like earlier in the evening partly because of my frustrations with other people. And I just laid into them because they're in one of those things where it's like a Russian propaganda channel. It looks like it's like promoting communism, and then you dig deep into it and you see like complete racism against like Polish people, you know, and then you're like, this clearly is not what it purports to be. So that's my big problem. And I think that's why like I like Reddit more, is because you find a community that's moderated and curated, whereas Twitter's just this shitstorm of whatever.
Yeah,
that
Twitter's Twitter's a nightmare now. I think it's unfortunate that like a public sphere was stolen from, what should have been a public sphere was stolen from us. I mean, it was always kind of never owned by us. But yeah, I think Musk taking Twitter is kind of like some of these social media platforms are like infrastructure now. And just to see some guy just like take it and he's like a demented weirdo and he just personally turns it into 4chan is like kind of sick. It's like imagine if you just like bought the post office and turned it into like, I don't know, whatever, like a place where you can like post child porn sometimes, like mail it, you know, which is what Musk did. So like it's pretty sick.
Well, and he says that it's all about free speech, but
your
free speech is like dependent on how much you pay. You have to buy free speech. You know,
like my cat's meowing to come in.
100%.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, XM 550. I can't imagine. What's up. I mean, I mean, maybe I can imagine because I've seen it dozens of times on Instagram Reels, but not in person. That's like, ugh. Yeah, you never, and that's a good thing to remember always. Like, I think I keep having these kind of moments where like somebody has a perspective and then you don't know enough about them to see where that perspective comes from. And when you find out where the perspective comes from, there's usually some kind of trauma or something, and like you can relate to them better after that. So like, I don't know, like people always have shared things with me where I'm like, I thought they were an asshole, and then they revealed something about themselves, and I was like, oh wow, I get it. And like that's a totally, like, that perspective that you have that I thought was fucked up, like it actually makes 100% sense now, and I get where you're coming from. I mean, maybe I still agree, but like if I had gone through the same experience, might I have the same thought process?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's like when you see, like, you know, Terminal hinted at, like, he and I disagree sometimes, which is totally fine. I think like the coolest thing about leftists and socialists, communists, like even when we infight and disagree, it's because we're all kind of right.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out.
People who love humanity arguing about how to best save the world. Adorable.
Yeah. Exactly.
But where was I going with that? Yeah, sometimes like our perspectives come from like different experiences that we've had. Like when I go really hard on the current administration or the upcoming one about the genocide, it's because I've seen too many headless kids. And I think that it's hard for me to shake that. And it's hard, like, it's, I don't know how when you've seen it that much, I don't know. I mean, I could go to therapy to try to like mitigate it or erase it some way, but then you're trying to mitigate it or erase it, which is horrifying too in its own right.
Yeah.
Like, why should I be allowed to forget that?
Yeah.
So like they like that was put there so I would see it, you know? So, and not by the social, I don't mean by the social media company. Yeah, they put it there so they can monetize me. But the people that post that stuff like are people in the war zone. They posted it so we would witness and we maybe would do something about it. So, you know, who am I to like just be able to like, oh well, I'll just forget about it and not think about it anymore. So for me, it's like it does come from a place of like it's like pinned in my mind and I can't let it go. And I still like close my eyes and still see these kids popping up. So it's like I can't not say something.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So it's, I don't know, but it is the way that I'm doing it the right way to do it. I don't know.
I mean, that's my concern is like, isn't like, it seems like a lot of people just do it for engagement and that's.
People do for sure. Yeah.
You know, I like the whole thing with the protesters at the speech, you know, like it's out of context and then everybody has their take on it. And you see this video hundreds and hundreds of times, but like I had to go and like listen to a thing on WBUR to find out, you know, what the people behind the protests, you know, what their points of view were in it outside context. And I think not enough people are really getting that. It's just this, you know, just a image here and here's my statement to try to make a joke about it or to say whatever. And it's all, it doesn't, so much of it does not seem genuine. It seems like it's primarily to build a brand on the Twitch platform. And not Twitch, I'm sorry, Twitter.
Yeah. It does happen. You see people that like, they drifted in because of this and they found a platform doing it and that platform just rewarded doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a mix of everything. I think it's a mix of everything.
I want to mention this. This popped into my YouTube feed. It's a channel where they rescue cats, but it looks like the cats have been put there intentionally in these bad distress positions, and then they rescue the cat, and then it gets like tremendous engagement. But it's like, and people are like, "Oh, look at how you're treating the cat." You know, these systems really play on the fact that we are empathic. You know, we empathetic beings, and I think it's dangerous that we could be manipulated so easily. The access to information, to solid information, is not there. I wish it were. I wish, you know, more people, like, it totally changed my tune. I still not sure. I think the way they went about the protest was the most productive way of doing it, but I at least understand, having heard from the two organizers of that event, you know, their position. But nobody, like, how many people on Twitter are doing it? They just use it as a means, like, of whatever.
No, speaking of that, I wanted to say, because you commented on something, and I forget what it was, so I apologize, but you commented on something that was kind of like gently like pushing back on something that I said, and I was appreciative because like I went into it thinking like, oh, that's a bad look. That was my whole take, was like, that's a bad look, but we'll move on. You know, it just looked bad, and you were correct. I had gotten to a point where so many people were mad at that take from either side that I like got lost in just the whole like the anger of being like in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it sort of like pushed me toward a point that I just didn't really have.
I mean,
and so
it is fair to say that her tone was kind of like, you know, this is me speaking and I have a right to speak up here and you guys should just shut up. I mean, it did come across that, but in the context of the fact that she met with them beforehand, she talked to them, she said that she, you know, she's not really, it's not like she can say, I'm going to end, you know, right now we're stopping arms to Israel. She can't do that right now, but that's kind of what they expected. And I think that they kind of are like, they think that pushing her this way is productive. And I'm just like, I don't know if anybody could handle it better than she did, especially because she was not talking about that. There's another interview where she gets interrupted by a kid protesting animal rights. He comes up on the stage and he literally takes the microphone away from her. And nobody made a big deal about that because people don't give a shit about animal rights, you know.
Yeah.
But on Twitter, genocide is like it's a clickbaity thing.
Yeah.
It's also the moment too. Like it's also like there was if there was BLM and then there was Palestine. This kind of things come in waves. So I think.
But didn't you feel like when BLM was protesting Bernie, wasn't there an element of like, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it's my perspective is like disrupt these fucking people because we're not like we are on the Death Star. Is my perspective.
Yeah, but what were they wanting Bernie to do more? Bernie is like a total ally of BLM, and they're protesting it.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to like a little bit disagree on him being a total ally, but also sometimes
he's the best ally you're going to get in a system in which you're required to accept donor money to become office.
Sure, but like the politician in that position is like the one to get yelled at. Like that's their whole thing, and that's how they move. That's how they moved historically. So like, and sometimes you want to sometimes you do want to push on the lowest hanging fruit because then you actually might be able to penetrate.
How does that make us any different than these people that go to the school board meetings and harass, you know,
it doesn't, but we're right. They're wrong and we're right. I don't think the tactic is like the problem. I think it's the message that, you know,
like some of the hyperbole. I just can't see equating Kamala with Netanyahu. If you call one a genocidal pig, what is the other? If Kamala is a genocidal pig, what language do you use to address Netanyahu?
Yeah, I think that's fair. But unless like, I guess personally, I'm just less like, I don't need the fine details to be like 100% across the board matching.
Yeah,
I think it's just like a mass of people is a mass of people, and you're going to get a mass of perspectives and personalities in the mass of people. Like if we had a uniform message that we could all chant at the same time, if that worked, it would be pretty cool. But I don't think it's even possible. So you're going to get like a variety, and you're going to get people that are, I think, because this is such an emotional thing, like we've never been like punched in the heart as hard as seeing all these kids hurt. So I think you're organically going to get a lot of like hyperbole and like, because the people are like posting from a place of, at least for me, and not everybody's like me, but like oftentimes like whether I make a video or I post, and it sounds really negative, I'm posting from a place of horror. I'm posting from a place of like, sometimes like when I made the Jill Biden video, like my wife caught me, I was like outside editing so I wouldn't wake her up, and on a balcony, and she came out and I was just weeping. Like that's what it takes for me to make something that, I don't know, I had to like care about it. So like, I think sometimes when people post crazy shit, or not crazy shit, or just like emotionally strong shit or hyperbolic shit, sometimes it's coming from a place like that. So I don't know. I try to be a little more like just understanding or forgiving that like things are it's going to be really messy to find like the right path forward. But the cool thing is, like I said earlier, everybody on the left is like kind of like, even when we disagree, we're all kind of right. Even if we're not 100% right, we're kind of right, and that's why our fights are so strong. Because it's like the Planeteers fighting. We're all trying to figure out how to.
The degree of like animosity between people just seems like unreal. Like the hatred, like they're if you dig into how it was John Paul's sister who was behind partly the protest there, like the hatred towards her and whatnot is so troubling, and it's just like it pits the liberals against the leftists, and it's. I don't see how it's productive to engage in it. And like I said, it's like, even with you and I, the system is like kind of pitting the subtle differences between our viewpoints, even though we agree it's a genocide. It fucking sucks. You know, whatever we could do to stop it. But, you know, it makes it so you and I are clashing on things when we're not actually focused on bigger issues. And that's why I can't stand.
There is an incentive structure to like creating.
It just creates
generally it's creating conversation, but the best way to create conversation is to make little fights. So like it does pit people against each other, and the people that are engaging the most are the most likely to have a long conversation.
I get fed people all the time in my stream or my timeline that's just designed to inflame me. I get a post from somebody and it's just designed to upset me, and for me to go in there and start talking to them and have a long conversation because that's they want me on the app. It's not.
I'm so bad about that. I have got to work on being better about just not engaging.
Yeah. It hurts that we have some I have some friends on Twitter that like, I think probably know I'm talking about, Terminal, but like they get pretty hurt regularly by engaging with other people, and they post a lot about like how hurt they are by just being on the platform, but then they post about that like 5 times a week. And so it's like, but part of it is too that we're all addicted to it, and I think that's okay to like acknowledge that if you're on social media more than like once a day, you're probably an addict. And for me, I'm on like a ton. I get a lot of news feed from there. I post a lot. I talk to people constantly. I'm also like a at-home dad right now, so it's like it's a tunnel out. I can't leave the house, but I can tweet. So, but it is like an addiction. Like I reach my phone like it's a pack of cigarettes pretty regularly. And I think that everybody who's good at these social media platforms is exactly like that. They're all addicts. Can you imagine the person's just like, I'm an expert at social media and I'm not an addict? They're just like so good at it naturally. It doesn't happen. There's no like.
I did want to mention that Southpaw. I love your engagement with people. I love how hard you go against everybody. I absolutely love it, and I like every time I see. I have one of the I like your stuff all the time. But I think that what differentiates you is I know you and I know you're genuine and you're not a bad faith actor. You're not somebody that's just looking. You seem like the clicks are secondary to actually your viewpoints, even though sometimes maybe you're going to be pushed by a crowd or whatever. You seem genuine, whereas my frustrations are these people who are totally bad faith. There's like so much bad faith,
like this fake fuck.
No, I was like, with you and I, it's always a fucking weird communication difference. That thing about the genocide, he's got a master. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Justin? I was like,
yeah.
Got a master's degree in genocide
I posted some misinformation or like before. I should probably delete it. Or I should make a this is I'll make a tweet. I'll make a correction tweet.
That's what's like. Why are you saying he's got a mastered in genocide studies?
Well, I read a The Hill article that said Tim Walz.
No, I mean, I
sent you the screenshot. He
said,
I was
like,
Tim Walz has a master's degree in genocide studies.
Oh, that's not true.
No, I made a tweet like calling him out, be like, basically like trying to go, like I added him and like trying to goad him into speaking. I want to goad him into speaking about it because if he's just a genocide studies, then like just talk about it. But the article was wrong. He did his master's thesis on the Holocaust and how like all the forces that led up to the Holocaust. And somehow that got like translated in this article that he has a master's degree in genocide studies. So I'm like, so in my head, I'm like, this guy's got a master's degree in genocide studies and like he's not talking about the issue like that. He's a vice president.
Well, I heard, okay, so I don't know if this is true. That's just what I heard. That when he was teaching a high school class, he taught what's it called, history class. He taught them about social studies. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. It was like a semester long project or something that they were doing in the background, and they said like he taught them all about like like what genocide was, all these different things in the world, what's going on, and then he had a project or something where he told them to come back to him and explain what country do you think is most likely to have a genocide. And there was some big article about it because they guessed Rwanda, like before Rwanda happened or something.
They were right.
And yeah, so I didn't know if that was what you were talking about, because I thought that was pretty cool. Like that's a cool thing to nail. Like, but yeah, I didn't realize that you're just a liar, apparently.
Yeah. That's some disinfo from a reputable source.
I'm just messing with you.
I have the screenshots to prove it.
And I do want to say, Terminal, like, if this point didn't get across, I want to make sure I really appreciate that you pushed back on it, because it corrected my vision, and I was like, oh, I'm just like pissed. Like now I'm just posting pissed, and I shouldn't be doing that. So like I really appreciate that. Thank you for doing that.
I mean, and I kind of like I said, I kind of want to be independently minded. I like to think that I'm further left of everybody because I'm like a nihilist and like
further left.
I am further left because
nihilism is not left.
Nihilism is left. Empathetic nihilism is where I come from. You know, so
thanks, Mackenzie. By the way, I just saw your message.
That's cute.
Awesome.
Yeah. So no, I like I said, I am an independently minded person. I don't like to feel like whenever I'm in a group and people are like, "Yeah, you're really talking sense." If like the more people tell me that, the more I'm like, maybe I'm not talking sense. Maybe I need to get out of this group.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But no, I appreciate it. Like I trust where you're coming from, because like you said, like I know you're authentic, like you care. So when you say it, there are people that follow me that they say, they go, okay, you know. But I hear from one of you guys and I'm like, fuck, I got to get my shit together. I'm posted mad or something. Yeah.
I hardly ever disagree with like most of what you guys say. You know, I take very, few issues, but like, I feel like you're friends, and that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Is like maybe I get pushed back about maybe not taking the genocide seriously enough. Justin might say that it's just a clear cut issue. There's a genocide here, but me, I'm like a philosophy major. I'm like ethics is something that just constantly go through my brain, and I'm trying to process how people are making their moral assessments. So like we have different frameworks that we operate from, and sometimes they do make us clash. But I think it's always important to be civil and figure out the best way. Like I said, I took all my anger out on Justin on some poor sap on Twitter who like I was like, this person will work as a proxy for Justin. I'm like,
and I think Justin, it sounds like you're kind of like me, where like sometimes it's just like the injustice of it all, where you're like, we could be the good guys, but like we're just not. And you're like, we know what the right thing is. We know, and I say we like you're thinking your brain like it's obvious. Come on, and like I'm just gonna say Kamala or Joe or whoever. I'm not, you'd be like, come on, we know better than this. We're better than, and they're just like not. And from in my brain, it's like that's so fucking unfair, and it's just like the unfairness of it is what drives me crazier sometimes than like. And seeing dead kids is bad. Do not get me wrong, obviously. But there are times where I'm like, that's so unfair. Like it's just the unfairness of it that drives me up a wall. And it's always good to have like friends that are like, come on, man, what can you do about it? And you're like, okay, you're right. Damn it. I'm gonna go stomp for a minute.
Yeah, and I think there's some things that we can all do about it. I think that everything innovative that has ever happened that has an impact on the world comes from like people facing a problem and using the skill set that they have to solve it.
Yeah.
That's like the entire history of humanity. Like they applied their skill set to their problem. My skill set is making silly videos with AI. So that's what I tend to do. But it's also like sometimes it's posting. Occasionally I fire off a post that's really impactful. But it takes a lot of like, because I treat Twitter like a live journal instead of like a I don't know, like a place where I post my theses. You see a lot of the raw makings of stuff. So before I put out the thing that's really, really the right thing that could actually really be useful. So sometimes a lot of times my raw emotion is the fuel for it, and then my brain is like the thing that turns into something. But oftentimes, you get to see the heart.
Yeah. No, I get it, man.
Yeah. That was a dark turn, but
you weren't supposed to talk about that.
I know we terminalized.
I didn't bring it up. But you bring it up.
We were doing like a gentle "I love you" disagreement fight in DMs before this. But I think that's good because like you said, like you need people that have different perspectives than you and come from different frameworks than you come from to like really sharpen your thought process and like your actions that you want to take. Like if the basis of our entire political ideology is community, and the idea is that like communities make better decisions than individuals, then that's the exact thing that we should be doing, is communicating constantly and bouncing ideas off each other. And I think it's really healthy because eventually, I'm not like Joe Rogan that thinks that like just talking to people will like will like generate new schools of thought. That's like his and Jordan Peterson's philosophy is like the more you talk, then like the more truth will come out. But they're just if you're just talking dumb, then more dumb is gonna come out.
That was so college me though.
Yeah.
I used to love that, being like, let's talk it out, man.
But if you have like if we're trying to actually build a better world, and we all have like, because like again, when leftists fight, it's like the Planeteers fighting. You know, we're all trying to figure out like the best way to save the planet. So if you're coming from that perspective, with all the empathy that we bring, with the intelligence that we bring, I think, you know, leftists are some of the smartest people on earth, because we figured out that, hey, being a selfish asshole is not the way to run the planet. But a lot of people in power think that. I guess we're smarter than them. So, you know, bringing the empathy and the intelligence to a conversation and bouncing ideas off each other and disagreeing and figuring out the best path forward, like a negotiation between a bunch of leftists is going to be a pretty net positive outcome. But like by default, like whatever middle ground that you and I come to terminal on a disagreement is going to be leaps and bounds better than anything that anyone in Washington.
It should be happening in more physical spaces rather than this place where we're just being manipulated, you know, and tribal, and it's all points, and it's just like a video game. It's just like going into Call of Duty lobby and, you know, trying to get people to come around to things.
I wish it was like there are healthier spaces that like Discord. I mean, I don't want to promote a company, but like a space, like a Discord type space, it's a curated space. It's not, there isn't like an algorithmic incentive structure to things, or disincentive structure, or like somebody, Elon Musk could just turn off your tweets. If you start being too kind to people or saying cisgender, you can just turn off your tweets. So like, I think we have to figure out how to make these online spaces work. Not necessarily the ones like Facebook and social, like Twitter and all that stuff, but like we have to figure out how to make some online spaces work, because I think that online everything, social, online media, that's all mainstream now, especially for people under 40 years old. Like if you're just talking about like social media, scroll, even like TikTok and YouTube and all this stuff, like YouTube is the biggest streaming platform. It's bigger than Netflix. Like, and like people spend more time on TikTok and Instagram Reels and all the Twitter more than they spend watching movies and TV, or even going outside or interacting with other people in person. Like that's just, I don't know how to change that, but I think we need to find ways to like make it work for us. Because now we have a mass media tool.
I wanted to go back to what you said about like Discord. Like Discord, to me, is like it seems like it does have, like you said, a healthier element of engagement, but I think it also like turns people off, because when they're on the Discord, they don't get, you know, you get like one little emote from somebody, you know, especially the smaller Discords. It doesn't give you the same feeling as Twitter. But imagine a space that was more curated and healthy, and then you had that kind of connection that you do get on some of these Discord servers, where you actually, I mean, I've had the same thing on Twitter, but it seems harder to get like just a conversation going with somebody about Twitter about cats or something. Maybe there is a space for that, and I just haven't found it.
Cat
no, you're totally right. It is nice every once in a while, because I like comic book stuff, and so every once in a while that's also in my feed, and it'll just be like, hey, this movie was cool, and I'll be like, that movie was cool, and then you just go back and forth talking about how cool a movie was, and I go, oh, social media could be awesome if it was this, you know. It's
unfortunate, like even like engagements between you and I, it's always about, I mean, it's usually about some issue that, you know, got people's, you know, emotions rised up. You and I hardly ever talk about, you know, what's going on with your art or whatever, or what's going on in your life, you know, there. It's So Justin's supposed to reveal the secret here.
Oh yeah, Flying Butthole wants to know, why did this come up on my thing? Listen, Flying Butthole, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. We're here for you, though, Flying Butthole.
Yeah, we made the stream for you. I'm glad you're here.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Even if you don't like it, like we made it for you.
Your name's Flying Butthole. That rules. Like, tell us more.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about, Flying Butthole?
How'd you get that name?
I know that seems like it would have already been taken. Well, maybe
Yeah.
not. Maybe it's
Yeah, I
just
normally
that.
expect Flying Butthole 11. That's
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It loses impact when it has a number at the end. If you have a clean flying butthole,
Oh yeah, it's pretty great.
that's the question. Does Flying Butthole have a clean flying butthole?
That
Yes.
is the question of the day. Flying butthole, are you still there?
No, he left.
Man, this was all we did. This whole thing, the whole thing was designed to go this long so we could bring Flying Butthole in here. And
Flying
Guys, we
Butthole's
had him.
subscriber.
We had him. He was here and he left.
This is part of. I think this is part of the problem with our channels is that like Flying Butthole, he's a subscriber, but he doesn't know why this popped up in his thing. So, like, he doesn't know who the hell I am.
you know, he's not connected to. Yeah, that's an
He just
interesting
sees
thing.
like goofy videos pop up once in a while, but he's like doesn't connect it to like a persona at all. It's just like it just seems like a random depository of made up viral clips.
That really is, yeah.
So that's kind of that's part of the reason I want to do this is because I don't know. I feel like knowing the people behind the work makes the work more interesting.
Yeah. For sure.
You want to see
Yeah,
one
that's
more
a good
thing?
point. Flying Butthole could have been a her, and that was disrespectful.
It was not. I
No.
can almost guarantee it was not.
We exist in a woke space here. We have to be respectful. So we should.
If it is,
We
I
don't
will
know-
100%
We
respect
don't
it.
know Flying Butthole's gender, to be fair.
Guys, it was a he. I don't know how to tell you this.
No, it's a good point. We gotta be.
Yeah, be kind.
No, you're
All
right. You're right.
You want to see a video?
All right.
Here's a video I only put on Twitter like one day, and it was the day that Dianne Feinstein died.
Oh, I saw this. It was the one she launching him into the cannon, out of a cannon, right?
Yeah. I
See?
posted like the day.
I
the day
follow
she
your
died or the day
stuff.
after. I wish I made it into a full video. It would have been cool. I basically was trying to make a trailer about Dianne Feinstein's last words, and you'll see what her last words are, and you can kind of like imagine like what a 3-minute trailer would look like. But this is just a little 30-second thing that I made as a test. But check this out. I love this one. Sorry if you're a big Dianne Feinstein head. Although this might give you even more positive opinion of her. Ready?
Donald Trump belongs in Guantanamo Bay. All billionaires deserve to be shot out of a fucking cannon into the ocean. Let the sharks have them. Student debt should be illegal. Debt is a prison for normal people.
That's it.
She deserves that because of that shit she pulled with the Kavanaugh hearing where she was thanking them for best hearing that she ever had. Do you remember this?
No, what was that?
She totally was praising Lindsey Graham and all these people about how they were having really good confirmation hearings when it came to Brett Kavanaugh.
Oh God,
it was really bad.
These people are ghouls.
What the fuck, gosh.
Absolute ghouls. And she was like just deteriorating in the last days, rotting on TV. I thought Biden was going to go out. I thought it was going to be like he was just going to die on TV one day. Like Feinstein very well could have.
Just like a Monty Python bit where he just clutches his heart and falls over.
Yeah, he just shatters.
Yeah, we're not far from that.
I felt like we were in a suite when I put out like the Biden and Trump dying video, and like I don't know if anybody follows me on Instagram or Twitter, but like put out some like fake headlines and things like that about them dying. I felt like we were in a real sweet spot where like things were so bad that people were like willing to accept that kind of joke.
Yeah.
And Trump was so bad. Like the left and liberals, centrists think that Trump is so bad that they're okay with that Trump dying. And then like Trump fans, MAGA people, QAnon, they think that Joe Biden is like the Antichrist. And so like things are so bad that they're like a lot of people were willing to make that trade. Like,
Oh,
if Trump
yeah,
died,
yeah.
if Biden died, that would be tragic. But if the only way it could happen is if Trump died too, I could take it. and the reverse too. Like, oh man, Trump, my hero, he died, but Joe Biden died at the same time. Okay.
They took each other out at the same time heroically.
Yeah. Well, that was the jokes. Was like they both slipped in the shower on the same day and died. The other one was their planes crashed into each other in the sky.
Well, you inspired me to make the video. I'm gonna share. I'll share it. The video of.
Oh, please share it. Please, I beg you to share it.
So let's see here.
You like the people who's been watching this whole time. Corvair, I know, has been here the whole time. Sorry if I mispronounced names. Brian, I don't know, Brian, if you're still there or not. Maybe None Superior was here early too. But whoever has been here the whole time, you're getting a real treat by getting all these either like never finished
banned videos
or banned videos. Yeah.
This one
I got canceled. Oh, my leg. My leg is like.
So I didn't even like finish the graphics on this thing, so it's totally rough. Some of the segments are done, some of them are just really, really rough. But here it is. This will probably get this stream removed. It's so incendiary.
Canceled. Yeah, you better watch it now while you can.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Donald Trump represents a threat to the national security of this country. Can't Joe Biden have Trump assassinated and be immune?
Here is something you can't understand.
How I could just kill a man. How I could just kill a man.
Here is something you can't understand.
How I could just kill a man.
Oh my man, coming at ya. Yeah, I know I had to get ya. Supreme Court said that I could do it, so I'm grabbing my rifle and getting into it like TurboTax. I lobbied DC to put a cap in your ass. It's 1040, easy. Big old Lucy in my scope. Now I'm squeezing. Here is something you can't understand.
How I could just kill a man.
Here is something you can't understand.
How I could just kill a man.
Here is something you can't understand.
How I could just kill a man.
Oh yeah.
I saw people celebrating as was coming down.
Just a little sample.
How I could just kill a man.
One time tried to come in my home, take my chrome. I said, yo, it's sewn. Take cover, son, or your ass down. How you like my chrome? Then I want the rookie pass out. Didn't have to blast out, but I did anyway. That young punk had to pay. So I just killed a man.
God.
Here is something you can't understand.
Okay. So that was that.
Delete the stream. Delete the stream.
That was
This stream is rated M for mature.
yeah. So
That was awesome.
so I wrote that line about the assassination thing like the night before, like literally the night before. If you go into our
Yeah.
Discord, Justin has this thing and his direct message to him, and then the next day Trump got shot. I was like, holy shit. And then I was like, part of me, like I
Yeah.
was shocked because I was like, oh my god, now I got the footage to do this. And I was
Yeah.
and then I was like, wait a
Yep.
minute, if this is bad, this is
The only
really
time I
bad.
said don't put out a video was that.
Yeah, you said don't post, don't
One.
post.
No. Oh, man.
That's great though. Like that's really well done.
It's so good, man. This is why you need like. I feel like the place for this kind of stuff is like a station. Like this stuff is like this stuff gets banned on all social media. This kind of stuff, right? Maybe it'll survive on Twitter, but like if this was on like MTV or something, like Whitest Kids You Know got away with so much stuff. That was on MTV, but it was,
Yeah.
Wonder Shows and got away with crazy shit. If it was on I don't know, if it had a different platform, I think it's more interesting that way, and could be like, you could be controversial, but you have like an umbrella of protection. Like out here, if we're putting stuff on YouTube, it's just like one of the largest corporations in the world that you can just shut you off.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I don't know, like sometimes I think things can be too incendiary, and maybe that is at this moment in time. I mean, maybe I'm willing to
we gotta push
self-regulate.
the edge, though. You gotta push the edge.
I'm willing to I think maybe the Trump getting shot in the ear thing is kind of pushing the edge, isn't it? Like having his ear being operated on. And
No, because he didn't. because he didn't eat it. And if you do it, you got to do it in the cutest way possible. So like the reason that I get away with stuff because I make it as cute as fuck and as funny as I can. But you get away with really radical stuff if you do like the idea of like Trump getting shot, but it only shoots the bad piece of his brain out. That makes him a racist.
Yeah.
And like he loses that piece of his brain and he just like loves everybody and gives away all his money. That would be awesome. And that'd do really well. And you just like kind of like it's a Christmas movie or something.
So Media Command says, oh my God. Is that about Justin's sweet new haircut?
I think so. I got a little like slight mullet. I was like, can I get the slightest mullet? And they were like,
you gonna go for the mustache?
No, maybe I will. Maybe I should grow. Should I grow a mustache?
You should do it every time. Like since I don't go to like a office job, I only shave for like when I come online like this.
Yeah.
And sometimes just to upset my partner, I'll leave the trucker mustache here. It always irritates her when I come out with the mustache.
You look like such a music store guy.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like the guy that works at the record store and knows every record in there.
The sad thing was I did work at a record store, but I worked at the video game counter at the record store.
Oh, wrong fit.
It was like I was such a nerd.
Yeah.
But I had lots of fun stories. One of my favorite stories was a guy came in. He says, I want that Pearl Jam t-shirt up there. And I said, which one is it? And he says, that one that says 9 out of 10 kids prefer crayons to guns. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool shirt. Are you really into, the message, the anti-NRA message, or are you just a big Pearl Jam fan? And he's like, what do you mean anti-NRA? I'm a member of the NRA. Like, dude, what the fuck?
What do you mean Pearl Jam? I just like the shirt.
Yeah. It's like it.
All right, guys, I think I need to go. Yeah, I'm already past due. I got to go like do dad stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for hanging out, Southpaw. It was a joy to have you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
I love when you show
Everyone
up.
in the chat. Everyone in the chat who hung out this long.
Yes, thank you. Guys. If you were here from the beginning, send a comment so I can say a special thank you. I know Corvair, you've been here a long time, but who else has been here a long time? Interested.
You people in the chat at this point are the only reason we're doing this.
Yeah,
you're the real heroes.
It's just for you, and I really appreciate if some people showed up at all. I think we got some couple people on Twitch too.
Did we? I
saw like a few people show up in Twitch, pop in and out. But yeah, thank you so much. Like we didn't know it was kind of an experiment for us, and we just wanted to give some extra.
And special shout outs to Flying Butthole or what was it?
Thank you.
Yeah, wherever you are.
Yeah, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you are. We'll be thinking about you. We're going to make a video for you. All right. Thank you so much.
Start this whole mythology. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Terminal, and thank you, Southpaw. But make sure you follow these guys. If you're not subscribed to Terminal Mode, go subscribe right now. You're going to love his whole catalog. He puts out way more videos than I do, so he'll keep you happy more regularly. And Southpaw, follow him if you're on Twitter, which don't recommend it. But if you are, follow Southpaw Leftist. He has a lot of great takes, and hopefully he posts more of his artwork soon because I really love it. He did that.
Thanks, guys.
In the middle there.
I'm gonna say in front of Justin, but Southpaw's my favorite Twitter account. So sorry, Justin.
Yeah, I'm too aggressive.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. How do I shut off the stream?
That's always the classic way.
Every time.
You want to end the stream with how do I end it? You want to begin it with what are we on yet?
All right. We rewind. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put. Oh no. Hold on. I found it. Okay.